Hello everybody and welcome to the 7th round of the 1994, I'm so locked out already. Anyway, 2004 Formula 1 season. We're here at the crown jewel of motorsport here for the Monaco Grand Prix at the Monte Carlo Street Circuit, 78 grueling laps ahead of the drivers. And I am joined today by Jose Medrano.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monaco.
Yeah, we have probably one of the most unpredictable races on the calendar, especially if you know anything about F1 Challenge. Is probably bound to be a chaotic race. But before we get into the race weekend, let's have a look at the driver standings, in which Kimi Raikkonen leads the way with 32 points. Despite not taking a victory at all so far in the opening third of the season, he leads by a slender margin. 2 points is the gap ahead of Giorgio Pantano, who only managed to pick up an 8th place in Catalonia. Fernando Alonso is in third, with Michael Schumacher. A retirement for him in the lead of last weekend's race means that he is on 25 points and 7 points adrift. We've now had 6 drivers so far scoring 20 points or above, with Jacques Villeneuve on 19, Trulli on 18 after his first victory of the season, and Juan Pablo Montoya in 9th. That is followed with these other 8 drivers, in which Sperrifico scored some more points in the Spanish Grand Prix. Marc Genet, the lowest of those that have scored points so far this season. In the constructors, it's a dead heat between McLaren and Renault, 57 points apiece between the two constructors, as Ferrari sits 18 points further back. BAR and Toyota are also level on points after a fantastic race for the Japanese outfit in Spain, and Williams moved down to 6th place in the standings. Meanwhile, it's a battle for 7th between Damsler Panos, Red Bull and Brabham. Is there any predictions for you, Jose, on who may take the championship lead coming out of this race weekend?
Well, considering everything, and especially practice for today, I do think that the gap between, well, let me check again, and here is standings. The gap between holy shit, my throat. Sorry for that. The gap between Pantano and Raikkonen is gonna close up quite dramatically today. A single mistake by Raikkonen can put Pantano back on the lead, or even the other way around. Raikkonen can secure a slightly bigger margin to the Italian driver if Giorgio makes even the slightest mistake with either strategy or on the track. It's really anybody's game today, but I do think there's going to be Raikkonen still ahead. That McLaren has some certain pace.
And talking about practice, here are the practice results from earlier on in the weekend, where Jarno Trulli took the early pace, the only driver, one of only 2 drivers alongside Fernando Alonso to get into the 1:19s, as Fernando Alonso was in second, Giorgio Pantano completing the top 3. The McLarens a bit further off the pace, but they were more focused on their long run pace. Damsler Panos still showing good pace, with Furman up in 7th. Manassi not getting that many laps in the board, as he was languishing down in 14th. Not a great session either from either Toyota, with Riccardo Sperrifico and the returning Giancarlo Fisichella both down the order, the Brazilian in 16th and the Italian in 23rd. Patrick Friesacker also still managed to outpace both Minardis, but around this Monaco Street Circuit, it seems that the Italian outfit have got a lot more pace up their sleeve compared to previous weekends, although they are still at the back. Speaking of lineups, we do have a transfer going into this race weekend, where Jacques Villeneuve has been sidelined for the returning Giancarlo Fisichella after his crash last season in Japan. He'll be hoping to get off to a good start here at Monaco, a track which he is pretty experienced in getting a good result at. He's picked up several podiums here, including last season, where he picked up a season's best 2nd place for the Toyota team, behind who was it again? I think it was Jarno Trulli that won last season's race. Actually, if I go here, it was. I did not write it down. Well done me. Anyway, yeah, Fisichella is back, the 4-time race winner, and I don't expect to see him completely up the order and fighting for podium straight away. Obviously, still recovering slightly from that, but yeah, it's good to see him back. Welcome in, by the way, Horizon, FF, and Rocking Parrot. How is everyone doing on this Sunday afternoon? Without further ado, then, let's get into the qualifying session for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Quite, I mean, not too shocking, but still quite sad to see Minardi so far behind. I mean, that is, it's still slightly far from the Boutsen, but then you look at Baumgartner. Oh my goodness me. The Italian outfit really has to do some work if they don't want to disappear off the grid anytime soon.
Felipe Massa
then-
will be the first one out on circuit. Sorry for interrupting there. The Red Bull man, probably one of the main focuses that is in the news going into the Monaco Grand Prix. What were you saying, Jose?
Nothing. Just one thing. That a question from FF. Any news on Wurst's condition after his practice crash?
There is not. No, not so far.
There you go.
Without further ado, then, while we see the first couple of drivers setting their lap times, hang on. We've not got the audio on, have we?
I can hear you. I mean, I can hear the stream and everything.
The game audio is not on. I can see it.
Oh.
Not showing up. That should work. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, first news report then is about Michael Schumacher, where he narrowly avoided a qualifying shock in Spain. Seven-time world champion Michael Schumacher came perilously close to suffering an embarrassing early exit during qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix after remaining in the garage until the final minutes in the session. The West McLaren Mercedes driver endured a tense wait in the pit lane as his crew worked frantically on his car, leaving Schumacher confined to the garage while the rest of the field set their times. As the clock ticked down, the situation began to look increasingly dangerous for the German, with the possibility of failing to qualify becoming very real. With just 4 minutes remaining in the session, Schumacher finally left the pits and headed out onto the circuit in a desperate attempt to secure a place on the grid. The late dash came after a lengthy technical check that kept the car stationary for most of qualifying. Team engineer Mark Priestley later explained that the delay was a result of a precautionary work carried out on the car before releasing it out on the track. Despite the pressure of the ticking clock, Schumacher managed to escape the potential humiliation of an early elimination after getting his lap in just before the session concluded. For a driver of Schumacher's stature, the scare served as a rare reminder that even the most experienced teams can find themselves on the brink when the time runs short in qualifying, and while the German ultimately avoided disaster, the narrow escape ensured that it was far from routine Saturday afternoon in Spain. Hopefully for McLaren, that sort of incident for them doesn't happen here today. Neither McLaren out in the early part of the session as we see Felipe Massa currently on a lap.
That's only a big scare for the British team and Schumacher. That would have been a disaster for McLaren. They are already having quite a kind of slightly mixed season this time around, with the only victory for McLaren, if I remember correctly, being France in Monaco for Michael.
I think Schumacher also picked up a victory in... I can't remember elsewhere, but he certainly picked up 2 victories, Michael Schumacher, so far this season.
Oh yeah, in San Marino.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Still quite the big scare for the team there in McLaren. Not really something you want to see on a track like Barcelona,
Sorry,
especially.
I just need to turn the audio down. It's a bit loud.
Yeah, there's no in between, is there? It's either too loud or. Just...
There we go. That should be better.
There we go. So back to it. Big scare, not the thing you want, but they managed to save it. They scrapped whatever they could, and they did quite well. So big and unfortunate for them for Schumacher's retirement to the while leading the race. Not really a good way to finish an already scary weekend for them, but I'm pretty sure they'll strike back here in Monaco.
Rubens Barrichello then across the line, and he goes to pole position by 3 seconds ahead of Felipe Massa. The Brazilian was also involved in the news, where Red Bull protest engine penalty rule after Massa qualifying drama. Tensions are rising between Red Bull, Sauber Lamborghini and the Federation Internationale Automobile following a controversial grid penalty that handed to Felipe Massa during qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. Massa endured a chaotic session at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya after suffering an early engine failure that severely disrupted his running. The Brazilian was forced back into the garage, and while the team scrambled to resolve the issue, it left him with limited time to complete a competitive lap. When Massa finally returned to the circuit, the rushed effort resulted in a best time that only placed him in 22nd on the provisional grid. However, matters worsened when officials placed a 10-place grid penalty for the engine change. Under the current regulations, the penalty dropped Massa beyond the qualifying field entirely, effectively pushing him outside of the top 26 and out of the race weekend. The ruling has angered the team, who believe the system unfairly punishes driver with mechanical failures occur beyond their control. Team boss Peter Sauber did not hide his frustration, quoting that Felipe has already paid the price for
The engine failure.
for the engine failure, thank you. In qualifying, Sauber said to then apply a grid penalty that effectively removes him from the race altogether feels excessive. The regulation should penalise performance advantage, not punish teams twice for a mechanical problem. The team is now preparing a formal appeal to the FIA, arguing that the current rulebook requires revision. Red Bull are looking to reportedly push for the removal of engine-related grid penalties, as Jarno Trulli goes to pole position. Pedro de la Rosa, meanwhile, outpaces his teammate Timo Glock. Montero still 9 seconds off the pace, or at minimum, a revision that prevents penalties from being eliminating drivers from the grid entirely. According to sources within the paddock, the team believes that their situation exposes a flaw in the regulations, particularly when penalties interact with qualifying cutoffs or grid limits. While it remains unclear whether the FIA will reconsider the rule, the controversy has already sparked debate among teams about whether engine penalties are still the best method or enforcing reliability limits. For Red Bull and Massa, however, the damage has already been done, turning what was already a frustrating weekend into a full-blown regularity dispute. And that has obviously gone to appeal. That as in between the Spanish and Monaco Grand Prix. What were your thoughts about Red Bull's quick action to this, Jose?
Well, not shocking, really. I was certainly expecting some reaction to the FIA's penalty for Massa in Spain, and certainly coming this quick is no real wonder. They got ruled out of the weekend of the race and everything, and that's a really important. That's a really key moment for the team to try and get some more money to continue developing the car. Getting ruled out of a weekend is no fun, especially because of a mechanical error that you really have no control about. Like, it doesn't matter how reliable an engine is, anything can happen to the car that you have no control over. So Massa getting dropped from the qualifying field entirely, that's just not really fair in my opinion. But of course, some action had to be taken, and Red Bull Sauber did the right call in my opinion.
And following on from that, there has been a result on this. FIA amends engine penalty rules ahead of Monaco after Red Bull protests. The FIA has confirmed a significant change to its grid penalty regulations set to be enforced immediately for the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. As there we see Giorgio Pantano split the two Ferraris. Justin Wilson also out there on circuit right now. The decision follows strong objections from Red Bull, Sauber, Lamborghini after a controversial qualifying session at the Spanish Grand Prix, where Massa was heavily penalised for an engine change. Massa had already endured a difficult session after suffering an early engine failure that placed him 22nd, and the 10-place penalty put him outside the top 26. The incident spread widespread debate across the paddock, with multiple teams questioning whether the punishment was disproportionate, particularly in cases where mechanical failure rather than the team or driver conduct was not the root cause. Following a fallout, a formal vote was conducted involving both Formula 1 and GP2 teams. The result is a revised structure aimed at making penalties more proportionate while preserving competitive fairness. Under the updated regulations, engine-related grid penalties issued during qualifying will now result in a 5-place grid drop rather than 10, and those that qualify within the top 26 will retain their place on the grid, even after the penalty is applied. However, sporting penalties, such as those for on-track incidents or disciplinary reasons, will still carry the potential to drop drivers outside their qualifying positions. The FIA has stated that the adjustment is designed to prevent scenarios where drivers are effectively eliminated from the race due to circumstances beyond their control, while maintaining a deterrent against it.
Are you okay?
Yeah, can you carry on for me, please? I need to get a drink.
Yeah. The FIA stated that the adjustment is designed to prevent scenarios where drivers are effectively eliminated from the race due to circumstances beyond their control, while still maintaining a deterrent against excessive engine usage. Now, the change is widely seen as a victory for Red Bull, whose complaints brought the issue into sharp focus. The team had argued that the previous system unfairly punished drivers twice, first through lost track time and then through a severe grid penalty. With Monaco's tight layout making overtaking notoriously difficult, grid position remains critical. The revised rules could therefore have an immediate impact on race strategy and weekend approaches, particularly for teams managing reliability concerns. As the championship battle intensifies, the FIA's swift response highlights a willingness to adapt regulations in real time, ensure that competition remains both fair and credible in one of motorsport's most scrutinized arenas. And certainly so that this required a bit of a scrutiny, because the situation with Red Bull was just frankly very unfair, regardless of how Massa qualified. Imagine that would have happened to Schumacher after that scare. Maybe he didn't do too good of a lap time, and the engine explodes. If that happened, then McLaren would have raced hell. But this is just Red Bull. This is Red Bull's action. At least the FIA listening to the teams and drivers, which is much welcomed in this era of Formula 1. But yeah, if action's been taken, the teams have agreed on that. The FIA has made a good move, in my opinion. Nothing much that I can say from there on. As my field is GP2, not Formula 1.
I am back now.
Anyways, let's focus back on... Oh, there you are.
Alonso then through the final couple of corners, out the last corner, purple again in the first two sectors and up towards the line for Fernando Alonso, and it will take him to the top of the power by a quarter of a second. Ralph Furman also out there on circuit, his teammate just over a second adrift of the current provisional pole time, as he himself is just over a second over the pole time through the first two sectors.
Well, it seems that qualifying might be a little bit more tight than I thought between the leading teams. As Alonso just said, 1:17.5, Trulli just right behind him with a 0.2 gap. Of course, this is just the first laps. They have to warm up and everything, but still really good to see that the competition might be closer than we think, as Ralph Furman puts his panel up into P7. I know the name of the team is way long, but I cannot remember everything at the moment. I know it's Lola Damspan of something, but that name is atrociously long.
Welcome in STPU and Clump Lump as well. Hope you two are doing okay. Sato then up towards the line, and he will set a 1:21.5, which puts him half a second behind Marc Genet as it currently stands. Massa himself up in 8th place as of right now, which obviously, even if he had a grid penalty, would not be close to knocking him out of qualifying. Of course, with the regulation change, that will not happen anymore. Let's carry on then with another news report. Fisichella returns to Toyota at Monaco after remarkable recovery. After months of recovery from one of the most frightening accidents of last season, Giancarlo Fisichella makes his long-awaited return to the Formula 1 grid at the Monaco Grand Prix, reclaiming his place at the seat of Panasonic Toyota Racing. Fisichella has been sidelined since the dramatic crash that he suffered at the Japanese Grand Prix last season, an accident that left the Italian with a broken neck and cast serious doubt over whether he would ever return to the cockpit. After months of rehabilitation and medical checks, however, the Toyota driver has confirmed to be fully cleared to race. The Italian's comeback means that the end of the temporary regiment that saw Jacques Villeneuve step into the team during Fisichella's absence. Villeneuve partnered Riccardo Speraffico through the early part of the season and delivered several solid performances, including strong points finishes that helped keep Toyota competitive in the midfield. Toyota's decision to release Villeneuve rather than Speraffico has raised a few eyebrows within the paddock. Some observers expected the Brazilian to be the one making way for the returning Italian, given Villeneuve's experience and relatively strong results during his short stint with the team. Villeneuve, however, appeared philosophical when speaking to the reporters about the situation. Quote, "I came in and did my job, replacing Giancarlo, and I think I've done a good job with it," Villeneuve said. "It was a great chance for me to get back into Formula 1, and I hope it leads to a seat in the future." For Fisichella, the return represents an emotional milestone, a crash that's that severe it may have ended many drivers' careers, but now the Italian now returns to the sport's most demanding street circuit in Monaco, a fitting stage for one of the grid's most remarkable comebacks. Toyota will now hope that the Fisichella back alongside Speraffico can now build a team in its encouraging performances so far this season as the championship heads deeper into its European leg. So Fisichella back, Jacques Villeneuve out. Were you by any chance a skeptic of their decision to drop Villeneuve rather than Speraffico?
Certainly so. Certainly so. Villeneuve has done an excellent job at Toyota. And surprisingly good as well. I wholeheartedly expected Speraffico to be the one to go, but in the end, I guess the team decided to keep Villeneuve, to remove Villeneuve. If I were to give my opinion, not the best move. Not really the best move. A combination between Jacques Villeneuve and Giancarlo Fisichella would have been perfect. Both drivers have a quite good of pace. They are really, really hard-working drivers. They know what to do. They know how to do it. They're really good, both. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that Fisichella's back. That accident in Suzuka was scary, to say the least. Absolutely brutal. Really, really happy he's okay and he's coming back today.
Schumacher across the line for his first lap in the qualifying session, and then 18.0 currently puts him between Trulli and Pantano in third place on the grid, and almost half a second away from pole position. Nick Heidfeld also out there on circuit as of right now in the Brabham Mercedes. As we'll now head on to the upgrades, where Renault targets improved efficiency. Mild 7 Renault Formula 1 team arrive with revisions to their rear wing package aimed at reducing drag while maintaining high levels of downforce required for the Monaco's constant low-speed corners. Engineers hope that the update will allow drivers to carry better speed along the short straights between the harbour section and the tunnel. Jaguar searches for sharper front-end grip, with a focus on their front wing, where the team has introduced a higher downforce configuration designed to improve turning throughout the tight sections such as the Lowe's hairpin and the swimming pool complex. Reliability is the main aim at BAR. After several frustrating mechanical setbacks earlier in the season, the team has introduced reliability upgrades to its power unit, aiming to see both cars reach the checkered flag, in where finishing is often been half the battle. Toyota trims drag at the front with a more subtle aerodynamic tweak with a revised front wing to reduce their drag. Dams pushes a bit more for cornering bite as they introduce a new front wing, increasing their downforce, and that helps with their grip through the slow corners, and mechanical stability will also be improved as such. Opel will also improve their front wing with a minor front wing downforce upgrade, and that is all for the upgrades and is all for the news.
Well, it's about time, well, not about time actually. It's really good to see the teams getting more upgrades, because that just means that the grid's going to spice up even more. I really hope that Dams, Tautologist, Dams, Lola, and of course Wolf can get an edge, as I remember seeing them running as high as 6th with Thurman, I believe, in Spain. Really decent,
they finished in was it 4th place in No, they finished 5th or 6th in San Marino, I think it was. One of those two positions.
San Marino. Yeah, San Marino, 5th for Furman.
Yeah.
As I said, really good, really good pace for the small team. Really nice to see them introduce upgrades, pushing for more. That's the stuff you want to see in Formula One. Not a team giving up at the slightest or just struggling all around, but one that knows what to do and how to do it, and that's that stands at the moment. They really want to get back on that point, on those points. And they have a chance with Furman. I'm not too sure about Minasian, but certainly Furman can do something.
Fisichella then returning on our screens for the first time this season. I'm not expecting him to probably be there or thereabouts with his pace and competitiveness of last season immediately, but quite far down the order actually with that lap, as it puts him only ahead of Nakano and Montero, 5.7 seconds off the pace. If he keeps that up, he may struggle to actually get onto the grid. Shinji Nakano then, a driver with a lot to prove, yet to qualify so far this season in the opening 6 rounds, as he now makes his way up towards the line, and it will be an improvement. However, he's just got slowed up a little bit by the Williams coming out the pit lane. A 2-second improvement though still for the Japanese driver, and he moves up ahead of Fisichella.
I'm not expecting much from Fisichella either. He just came back into Formula 1 from a huge accident at Suzuka 2003. It's best that if he takes it easy and gives himself some time. Risking or pushing too hard could lead to more injuries to arise. Oh! Someone's hit the wall.
Where is he? Oh!
Well, that's Furman!
Furman's...
Oh!
What?
Where is he? Huh? How in the hell did he manage that?
If Minardi were bought up by which company, there's no actual things of Minardi actually being bought so far. I will have a replay of what's just happened with... What? That's impressive.
That isn't it. That might have been an injury for those masters right there.
Classic Ralph Furman moment right there. As he's gonna... Oh, he's back on circuit. Yep, sure, why not?
He's just back on track.
He's just back on track, no big deal. Shrugs it off. He'll carry on without a front wing.
Yeah. Also, I just want to take a little second here to say, muy buena, Nico. I have some friends of mine watching the stream. I sent them the link and everything.
Okay. Welcome in, everybody. Nicholas.
Great to see some support for me. Hello, guys.
Nils, as well as Casey and Tina. Hope everyone is doing okay today. Page. There it is.
As we see here, Pedro de la Rosa in that old pool. Let's see what the Spanish driver can do. Coming down into the final, the back straight, one of the only straights of the track, as he goes up into P13.
He replaces Takuma Sato there.
Oof, yeah, not the best season for Honda. That is... Ralf Schumacher hasn't gone out yet, but I can imagine he must be really, really frustrated with the team.
Sperfico will remain the benchmark then for Fisichella to try and get close to in this session, but he fails to... No, he just about improves there by a 100th of a second, Ricardo Sperfico, but remains in 8th position. Marc Genet in the Williams, still here for now, as he scored his first points of the season in the Spanish Grand Prix. I can't remember which Grand Prix he did, but he scored an 8th place in one of his first 3 races, and he'll be looking to match that result with a good points finish to try and keep Williams in that battle for 4th in the Constructors. However, he is going to need a good qualifying lap here to take him further up the order. Does so with a 12th place, which splits him between the 2 Ws of Dan Weldon and Justin Wilson. Zsolt Baumgartner currently out on track, the fans' favourite. He's in the swimming pool chicane right now, and he's actually on a lap. Giorgio Pantano also out there on circuit as of right now. Hello, Sampas, welcome in. And the Hungarian now will make his way round the final corner. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a competitive lap or anywhere close to being fast enough to get him onto the grid, but it'll be a 1 minute 24.8, which will put him actually ahead of his teammate by 1.3 seconds. So a good lap there actually from Zsolt Baumgartner, in which we haven't actually seen him out-qualify his teammate so much this season. Giorgio Pantano, though, with an improvement by a 10th of a second. Not enough to get ahead of Michael Schumacher, as the gap is 11 thousandths between the German and the Italian Rubens Barrichello also out there on circuit as of right now, and he's going faster in the first sector at 19.0, and now down towards the second sector split, and he's half a tenth up, 2.5 tenths down on the provisional pole time, and this could be a lap that puts him ahead of Kimi Raikkonen. Saying that, the Finn himself is also out there on circuit right now.
Well, honestly, I expected that from Balkan. Not really the best car for the Hungarian to drive. I didn't know he was the fan favorite, though. I did miss that fact. But yeah, it's nice to see that those little teams have the support of the public at least. As we see now, Barrichello still on P5. I think he was P5 before.
He just moved up ahead of Kimi Raikkonen there, just about. But the Finn himself looking for a retaliation lap here. To try and get both McLarens back into the top 5. It doesn't seem that the McLaren is all too strong around the streets of Monaco, but if they can keep it clean out the barriers, then they should be on course for a good result here today. Kimi Raikkonen then, 19.0 in the first sector, 25.7 in the second sector, and now through the last corner. What will this lap entail for Kimi Raikkonen as the Iceman now makes his way up towards the line, and it'll be a lap good enough to put him back ahead of Rubens Barrichello. So it's pretty close quarters. Sorry, go on.
Yes, so far so close actually. There's still a little bit of a close gap between, especially at the pole position between Fernando and Jarno, but still not really much of a threat for the top 6 at the moment. Minassian's gap is still a bit too far from Barrichello. I don't really think we'll see anything from Furman after that kerfuffle there at around the swimming pool, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that was a swimming pool chicane where Furman went off. Both Brabhams also out there on circuit. Heidfeld improved to 15th place, and Pitsonia also on a first lap. Interesting idea, enjoying the stream, thanks. For first time watcher, how do I catch up on team changes, history, and etc.? Oh, thank you, because I just about forgot that. If you want to find out more information on this series, be sure to check out the Discord. It's in the description of the stream. I will also get a link for it and put it in chat for anyone that is interested, as Antonio Pitsonia goes up to 11th place. A great lap actually there from the Brabham, as he now goes 4 tenths behind the dams of Ralph Furman. His teammate Nicholas Manassing was on course for an improvement, however is being held up by Thiago Montero, that is in the Minardi, and out the final corner for the Frenchman. Will he be able to actually overtake him across the line? He's going to try to at least, and it won't be the improvement that the Frenchman would have been looking for, and as such he remains in 7th for right now and over a second away from the pace setting of Jarno. No, it's not a Jarno Trulli, it's Fernando Alonso currently on pole.
Yeah, but move out of Minardi there. You just see that you have a car that's coming quicker, then you just move out of the way. He had a lot of space, he just had to let go of the throttle for a second. That's cost him Minassen a lot. He was improving. So that's just a disappointment for the French driver, as they're still fixing Furman's car in the pits. Then far back we have Button, D'Amata and Webber without a lap time. So we focus now on Massa, protagonist of the recent regulation changes. Through the line he goes 11th fastest, just ahead of Pitsonia.
Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya both now out on circuit, as the two of them will be looking to find a decent banker time. However, if Thiago Montero remains in the way of Ralf, then it won't be an all too good lap. I think, yeah, he's going to be starting a lap now, so that's not going to be a good lap from the reigning world champion. Jarno Trulli also out there on circuit, as he is looking to try and take pole. Cyber, I've just put a link in chat if you want to join the Discord. Be my guest. There's a whole community of us now in the Discord. Welcome in Edic and Alec. I hope you two are doing well today. Skoda Formula 1 team.
We
That
all
would be
know
an
that
interesting
you all know
one.
the best idea for Formula 1 will be Lada. It is Lada. We need Lada in Formula 1.
We're not having hashtag Lada for 2005. We're not
Yes,
having
we are.
that again.
Yes, we are, mate. Come on.
Jarno Trulli then improved on his lap to go half a tenth faster. Remains over 2 tenths slower though than Fernando Alonso. It's looking fairly comfortable for the Spaniard to take pole position here in Monaco today, as Ralf Schumacher dispatched of the Minardi somewhere in the first sector, I'm assuming, as he's only 7 tenths down through the first 2 sectors. The German world champion will be looking to try and get points on the board for the first time this season.
Wrong, just before anything, wrong universe, Casey. God damn it. Wrong universe.
I agree with Kio's hashtag there. Jose's gone mad. That's a brilliant lap actually there from Ralf Schumacher. He goes up to 8th position and tucks himself nicely behind Nicolas Manassian and ahead of Japanese rivals Toyota of Riccardo Sperrifico. Juan Pablo Montoya though will be looking to get at least ahead of his teammate, who currently languishes down in 16th position. Halfway through the session at this point, and we have seen so far 26 drivers take to the circuit. The bottom 4, or the slowest 4 times that we've seen so far: Shinji Nakano, Giancarlo Fisichella on his return with not a great banker lap, and the 2 Minardis as so often in Baumgartner and Montero languishing at the back of the field. Juan Pablo Montoya though will be looking to actually get himself higher than 27th place with this lap, and does so across the line, and he moves ahead of Nicolas Manassian and up into 7th position. Timo Glock is also there out on circuit in the 2nd sector. Through Portier goes the young German, as everyone's just saying random car manufacturers to be an F1 team for 2005. And he is marginally up through the first 2 sectors. Sato was marginally up across the whole lap, and he stays in 18th place, albeit a 1.5 seconds slower than Ralf Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher is actually currently closer to pole position than he is his teammate, and he also had traffic in the way, so not a good lap at all there for the Japanese driver. Is there an option to have the FW26 with the late season nose? There isn't one in this mod, no. I haven't seen one at all, as Glock goes within 3 seconds of the provisional pole time, 21st place, and right behind his compatriot Nick Heidfeld. Next one to cross the line will be Dan Weldon, and he improves up to 11th place, moves ahead just of his world champion teammate David Coulthard, as several drivers still out there on circuit. None of the front runners really out there, I say that, and Rubens Barrichello loves to prove me wrong in that sense, as he's just exited the pit lane now, and Benoit Trellier out there on circuit, and he's just starting a lap now on board with the Frenchman, as we'll take you around this beautiful Monaco street circuit. Through Saint-Devote, make sure to not have any heroics there in the first lap of racing, and then up the hill through Massenet and the Casino Square. Be sure to get a nice and tight to the left hand side so you can carry as much speed through the right hander of Casino Square, then into the top Mirabeau, and then into the Lowe's hairpin. It's the tightest corner on the calendar, and also the slowest one for the drivers to negotiate. Then through Portier, famously Ayrton Senna crashed there from the lead quite comfortably in the 1988 edition of this race. Benoit Trellier does better than that though, as he now heads towards the 2nd sector splits. He's half a second up as he heads into the Novel chicane. Out of there, he's taking it pretty cautiously, staying somewhere in the middle of the road, and then into one of my favourite sections, Tabac and the swimming pool chicane. A left-right chicane, and then followed by a right-left chicane, and then you make your way to the final 2 corners. Very difficult to pick your braking zone out for this one as you're braking and turning, as La Rascasse is also a pretty tight corner, and out the final corner, which is also known as Anthony Nogues, for Benoit Trellier, and up towards the line, and it'll be a lap time good enough for 22nd position. I had to cancel career today as the AI were doing whack stuff. Damn, that's a shame.
Also, I have to say that I really agree with Nils Campos in 2005, yes.
Of course, you would love
Yes.
Campos in 2005.
Exactly, my guy. Exactly. We need that.
Cristiano De Mata and Jenson Button, so both the Jaguars, have not actually gone out and set a lap time so far. De Mata, though, out there on circuits as of right now. So what are you planning to do then, Tom? Are you just like skipping that weekend altogether, or are you just counting the quali results, or is it like you just try and find a different version of the track? Jolt Baumgartner with an improvement on his lap. He actually is only a tenth behind Giancarlo Fisichella with that lap. It's a fantastic lap there for the Hungarian driver, but he remains second last of those that have set lap times. Cristiano De Mata fares a little better as he goes 2.6 seconds lower than the provisional pole time and 18th fastest. 2 places further back, though, is Pedro de la Rosa in the Opel, in which he'll be looking to at least jump ahead of Takuma Sato, who is less than 200ths ahead of the Spaniard as of right now through La Rascasse, and then he'll be quickly around Anthony Nogues and then powering his way up towards the line to complete his next qualifying lap. 25 minutes to go for all the drivers, and it remains to be 20th place as he does not find any improvement on his lap. Patrick Friesacker close to being in the drop zone here, as Shinji Nakano almost matching him stride for stride so far in this qualifying session, less than a tenth of a second separating the Austrian and the Japanese driver, but Friesacker improving in the first and second sectors, albeit not by an awful amount, but it should be enough to take him further clear of his teammates. Through Anthony Nogues now for Patrick Friesacker and up towards the line. The Asiatech powered Boots and Energy racing car is only good enough for 24th place, but is now within 4 seconds of pole position? Yeah, 3.6 seconds. So he actually found a lot of time in that last sector, enough to take him within 4 tenths of the next car in front.
I was going to say that Jenson Button was still in the pit lane, but no, he just went out. We still have to see what Weber can do, who's still in the pits. Still a lot of time to go with 24 minutes on the clock, but it's best if you do at least one lap and then get back into the pits if you have some problems.
Justin Wilson also improved on his lap, I think. He just went just over 2 seconds slower than the pole time. 14th place for him right now, as he sits over a second ahead of his teammate. De La Rosa on another lap, held up, I think, by another car, and he remains in 20th place for now. Genet is also on a lap. We'll actually get the back end of his lap on screen, and up towards the line for Marc Genet, and it will remain in 17th. Jenson Button then. And see what his metal is made of. Confirmed for a Williams drive for 2005 alongside Alexander Wurz, if the Austrian can make it to the opening of the 2005 season following his massive crash that he had in France. Yep, remember the country. Yeah, it was France. 7 tenths down there through the first sector as Michael Schumacher improves, stays third for now. Ricardo Sperrifico also in the final sector looking to find an improvement. He needs to find a tenth and a half to jump ahead of Ralf Schumacher as Mark Webber out there on circuit. Gearbox failure for the Red Bull. It's not the first time that we've seen that for the Austrian team this season. I believe actually 3 or 4 times we've seen that already for both Massa and Webber in this season.
And just the timing as well with the whole Massa and the engine penalties debacle. Another Red Bull Lamborghini goes out with Webber's gearbox kicking it. Not really the best of timing right there, but we'll see the new relations kick in rather quickly today. But also something that I wanted to say, I don't know if you saw the question by Alec. Is there an option to have the FW26 with the late season nose?
I did say that, yeah. I don't know if there is a option in the mod to do that. Sampas, where is Juan Pablo Montoya going for 2005? I am not exactly sure where he is going so far. Hopefully he remains on the Formula 1 grid, as he's probably one of the best drivers currently in the field. although he is being pushed out of Williams. So he definitely will be moving elsewhere, as Giancarlo Fisichella a second up in the first sector. This is worrying times if you're a fan of Boots & Energy Racing and Patrick Friesacker in particular, as he is the driver, other than Mark Webber, that could be pushed into the drop zone. The Austrian currently in 25th position, Fisichella 2 places further back, despite being over 2 seconds further behind. He's nearly 2 seconds up though through the first 2 sectors, so this lap could be good enough to possibly take Fisichella through to the race weekend, or rather the Grand Prix of... Let you have it. I saw myself on OnlyFans for that. Hey yo. As now Fisichella now makes his way to the final couple of corners. Laratkas does that fairly comfortably, and then a fairly good line there through Anthony Nogues, and the Italian who finished second here last season will be able to qualify his car 24th place only. Surprising that from the Italian. He's got more laps in the bank to complete, as he now sits half a second clear of the drop zone, which we expect to see because Mark Webber not out there on circuit setting a lap time so far this season. Ralph Furman, though,
there it is
also out there on circuit, improving by a quarter of a second.
Well, we really can't expect much from Fisichella. He just came back into Formula One. He needs a lot of time to get back into grips with Formula One and such after that injury. And I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't do too well for the first races, but then improves as the season goes. As we focus here on Ralph Furman. 1:18.8, that's P10 for the Irish driver, just shy of Minassian. Also, going back on what you said about OnlyFans Brabham Mercedes confirmed for 2005.
Jimmy Johnson for 2005. Dear me, that would be a sight. Minassian then out there on circuit. He's looking to improve on his lap time. Him of all people. Another thing to note about Giancarlo Fisichella, that the Monaco Grand Prix race weekend is the first time that he's ever driving one of these 2004 cars. Before this point, it was a bit of a rush to get him into the car, and as such, he's not really had any testing before this point of the season. So, if he makes it onto the grid, I think that'll be a good start for Giancarlo Fisichella. Jeff Gordon. I think Jeff Gordon's a bit old, isn't he? FF, as now Nicholas Minassian rounds the final corner. Ralph Furman also out there still on circuit. Can't find an improvement, as Minassian does find a bit of an improvement, but was held up by Timo Glock exiting the pit lane, and as such remains in 9th place. I reckon if Minassian can get a clean lap together, then he should be able to jump ahead of Sperifico and get himself into the front 4 rows. We saw no improvement from Jarno Trulli nor Michael Schumacher on their laps. Some of these requests are crazy. The OnlyFans Brabham Mercedes never is going to happen because I don't have anything of... OnlyFans Brabham Mercedes. That'd be more of a shill than the Surtees of what, 1976, is it?
The one with the Durex sponsor?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me look that up.
We'll watch Fernando Alonso then on board.
1976 British Grand Prix.
Yeah, watch on board then with Fernando Alonso on this lap. He's looking comfortable to try and take pole position, but he's looking still for an improvement with a 17.5 as his best time so far in the session. First sector split.
An improvement that into sector 1. Not much, but still quite something.
I think he's also been the only driver so far to be into the 1 minute 18s, the 18s in the first sector. I don't think anyone else has touched that part of the timing sheet so far. But Fernando Alonso then into the Nouvelle chicane, which is also where the second sector split is situated. And once again, purple through the second sector. 100th for the second up through those first two parts of the lap. But the final sector, the most crucial and the longest out of all three, through the swimming pool chicane, as Ralf Schumacher improves to split himself between the two dams, and then into La Rascasse for the Spaniard. Will he be able to pick up any more time through these parts of the lap? A bit of a clip of the wall there on the outside, and then out of the final corner for Fernando Alonso. What will the lap time be? 1 minute 16, 1 minute 17.5. It is an improvement of 0.04 of a second to take his pole gap to a quarter of a second pretty much ahead of Jarno Trulli.
Not really much of a substantial improvement, but still always welcome to better lap times. And Kimi the Goat, that is, he makes the custom liveries. Jaden and everyone else handles that, so yeah, you can see that this group here has quite a lot of brains to do so. Not me though. I'm GP2 and had to let Jaden do it because I did not know how to do it in R Factor. But yeah, you have some really good painters here.
Riccardo Sperrifico then is what looks to be the lead Toyota this race weekend. The number one status pretty much hangs over his shoulders here at the Monaco Grand Prix. The first ever time that he has ever been to Monaco in a Formula 1 car, as the last season where he was at Prost, the team went under before they even reached the Monaco Grand Prix last season. Up towards the line then for Sperrifico. No improvement, and he stays in 8th place. Information though on the back of the field, as Patrick Friesacher looks to try and improve on his lap time. He needs to find half a second to jump ahead of Benoit Trellier and a further 10th to get ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella, as he currently sits in 26th place, which would be enough to get him onto the grid. But if Mark Webber sets a lap time, and I assure that he would be faster than the Boutsen right now, then it would be both Boutsens going home post Monaco Grand Prix. So we'll see what Patrick Friesacher is capable of doing as he's green through the first two sectors. Up towards the line then for Patrick Friesacher. Is this lap good enough to take him ahead of Benoit Trellier? 21.3 says no, as I don't know if he actually found an improvement there on that lap, as yeah, he didn't find an improvement on that lap. He somehow managed to lose a lot of time in that last sector when we were watching him, and as such he remains in 26th place. Worrying signs then for team boss Thierry Boutsen, as Kimi Raikkonen fails to find an improvement in his lap time. Dan Weldon currently ahead of his teammate David Coulthard, although I think the Scotsman is has only completed one qualifying lap so far in the session, with the two BARs 12th and 13th. They would love to get both cars into the top 10, but that seems a bit more of a struggle than in previous rounds, as Dan Weldon fails to improve. Antonio Pizzonia having a good race, or rather good session so far in this qualifying, as he sits 6 places ahead of his teammate and 6/10 ahead of the German of Nick Heidfeld. Thierry Boutsen is having a gin. Thierry Boutsen's having enough is what it sounds like. Antonio Pizzonia then out of the final corner, and the Brazilian will improve by half a tenth of a second, nearly clipping the Ferrari on the way through there of Rubens Barrichello, and he stays in 16th position as Jenson Button looking to find time. He's currently being out-qualified by his teammate Cristiano De Mata, which what I think would be the second time only this season. 0 non-qualifications for Jenson Button, yet 2 for the Brazilian of Cristiano De Mata, means that he is on the chopping blocks potentially at the Jaguar team, as now Jenson Button now makes his way round the final corner, and the Briton will be looking for a sizable improvement, at least to take him ahead of his teammates. And he does so by 0.4 of a second, gets to within a couple of hundredths of Marc Genet ahead in 17th position.
Well, we're off to an interesting qualifying session at the moment. It appears that the gearbox issues with Webber have not been fixed yet. He's still on an outlap with no recorded lap, at least for now.
He's on an outlap right now, I think, actually.
Also, they fixed it. Okay, good. I thought he was still stuck there.
Fisichella in the final sector. He's going through the swimming pool chicane right now, and this lap is more security than anything. Saying that though, improvement of 3/10 would take him up as high as Takuma Sato up in 20th place. So yeah, very fine quarters in the lower depths of the midfield. And then out of the final corner for the Italian of Giancarlo Fisichella, it's a 20.7, no improvement for the Italian. Oh, and Pantano's been into the wall.
Into the wall, and that's a big one.
It looks like a hefty incident there for Giorgio Pantano, currently 4th place in qualifying. And it looks like another incident for Renault, in which the car has been released and immediately failed coming out of the pits. Hello, by the way, Mark, Gallifreyan, and Blue Storm. Hope everyone is doing well today.
Well, that's not the best situation for the Italian driver there. Hefty crash into inside the boat. Oh, that looks not too good. But do you reckon it could have been a car failure? Because I didn't even see him brake.
Yeah, it certainly looked like a brake failure there for the Italian, in which he is currently 2nd place in the driver's standings. So hopefully for him, he's going to have to get the spare car if he wants to go out there again. As Mark Webber out the final corner, this pretty much secures who will go through and who will go home. Will it be Frisacker or Webber? It will be Frisacker, as Mark Webber goes 12th position with a 1:18.9. So currently both Boots and Energy Racing and both Minardi's out here in Monaco.
Well, we already have one of the first victims of a hefty crash in Monaco. With none other than Giorgino Pantano trying to do a heroic inside the back with the brakes and not working out too much. Let's hope that Renault can fix that for the race, because if not, they're gonna have a really bad day. At least Fernando's still on the lead, but not too far is truly from the Spanish driver, as we focus on Cristiano da Mata, the Brazilian driver, on an ill lap.
Yeah, he's just improved
Takuma
on his lap
Sato
time.
Yeah, Takuma Sato not doing the best of it. He's struggling on that Honda.
He is 8 down on his personal best, and he stays in 21st position. Gallifreyan says, cooked a good meal, and me. I am doing good. Yeah, a bit ill at the start of the week, but we are back now. So, yeah, Monaco Grand Prix delayed by a week, but we are here once again for what we expect probably to be the most chaotic Grand Prix of the season. As people often know in F1 Challenge, the AI don't work 100% correctly around this circuit, and we should be in for a good race this evening, as Furman out there on circuit, both dams actually out there on circuit as of right now, with Manassian currently a few seconds on track behind his teammate Ralph Furman. No improvement for Furman. Let's see what Manassian is capable of doing. Benny, am I doing bad? No, I'm not doing bad, but Heidefeld's doing bad. Heidefeld's been into the barriers by the sounds of it.
There it is.
What's he done? Ah, engine failure for the Brabham.
That's an engine failure.
And he's also managed to lose the front wing.
Yeah, your monies are gone. After that, your monies are gone.
And that will also mean that the new regulations in terms of engine penalties will take place. So Nick Heidfeld almost certainly to start in 26th position with a 5-place grid penalty.
Well, far from welcome that is for Brabham, which might have to look into that Playboy sponsor at this point. As we focus on David Coulthard. That was pretty fiery. Come on, Horizon, please. Leave the bad jokes for me. David Coulthard does improve, but not by much, as he's still P13 with his teammate
14th place,
Weldon,
just behind.
behind him.
Yeah, so it's not looking like it's been a good session for BAR, as they are a lot further down the order than what they normally are. A good session, though, for Fernando Alonso, as once again he's going purple through the first two sectors. By half a tenth of a second, he is up in the first two parts of this lap with 8 minutes to go in this session, and Alonso looking at one with his Renault R24. Round to the final couple of corners then. Larascas and Anthony Nogues left for the young Spaniard to negotiate, and he seems to be doing this perfectly with inches of precision on his side. And Fernando Alonso then up towards the line, and it'll be a 1 minute 17.4, which extends his pulse gap to 3.5 tenths ahead of the rest of the field. Michael Schumacher out there on circuit right now, as Fisichella is just ahead of the five-time world champion. An improvement actually through that first sector, not through the first sector, through the second sector, an improvement to the first sector for Shinji Nakano. There's
that's going to be a little bit of a sticky situation for Michael. And yeah, there's no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no new entries for GP2 and everything.
Yeah.
FF. You're locked out, mate.
Michael Schumacher then 5.5 tenths off of pole position. He'd love to be a bit closer than that. However, behind Patrick Fisichella, it looks like he's not going to find an improvement. Is exactly the case. And now we change our attention to Shinji Nakano. Can he have any say in this qualifying race here today between Trellier, Fisichella and Nakano? It seems to be the fight between... Giancarlo Fisichella is also close to being knocked out. Not enough for Shinji Nakano, and Patrick Fisichella 7 tenths down through the first sector. So it's looking like Fisichella's qualification is going to be safe here today, as Dan Weldon himself looking for an improvement. Yeah.
Well, let's see if the
yeah. Go on.
Go on. Sorry.
No, Weldon improves by 0.003 of a second. Hamilton had a pretty horrific crash at F3 Euro Series and probably will not be racing again, which is definitely different to real life at least.
Yeah, Hamilton's in vegetative state. After that, he is a literal broccoli.
My word. As Antonio Pitsonia is 100% going to out-qualify his teammate Nick Heidfeld now, as high five-place grid penalty for Nick Heidfeld. I really wanted to say that, I don't know why. But now the Brazilian now makes his way around the final corner, currently on a 1 minute 19.7 for Antonio Pitsonia, and will remain that as his personal best. Jenson Button just 2 places further back, and he's not looking like he's going to be finding an improvement through the first 2 sectors.
5 minutes left of the session.
In the meantime, you have a question from Bluestorm. In terms of car performance upgrades, do you have a Morpho Rally in the game? And if so, does it work throughout the season or all between seasons? I know the answer, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, I have this whole system basically where, at least for the player run teams, they get to choose when their upgrades come with a money system. They're randomized pretty much for the AI as well. Through the seasons as well, it's pretty much randomized to a point with their development. Well, they can choose to pay how much they want to develop the car for next season, but that in turn does not also automatically guarantee you the guaranteed results, if you know what I mean. As Jenson Button, no improvement for him, no improvement for Pitsonia, no improvement for D'Amata either. Fisichella up towards the line, and he does find an improvement, which does take him a bit further ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella. Seems pretty quiet out there now, as I think a lot of the drivers have now completed their laps. So as it currently stands, Alonso is on pole position, 3.5 tenths ahead of Jarno Trulli, with Schumacher, Pantano and Raikkonen completing the top 3. Cristiano D'Amata is actually finding a bit of time through that second sector. We'll see if he is capable of trying to claw any further time out of this one, as he's only 0.003 behind Felipe Massa right now. Oh, thanks for subscribing, Nick Alt. Didn't even know the Stream Elements bot worked, because 99% of the time it doesn't. But out the final corner for Cristiano D'Amata, currently set on a 1 minute 19.7, as Antonio Pizzonio was, and remains to do so with a 1:19.8, no improvement for the Brazilian, as he stays 17th and looks on course to outqualify his teammate Jenson Button for what I believe to be the second time this year. Coulthard and Webber probably the biggest heavy hitters in terms of names out there. Ralf Schumacher actually also out there. He's up in 10th place right now in the Honda. It's been a fantastic qualifying session from him. It would be his season's best by quite a way, as we've often seen him languishing around 15th to 20th place in qualifying so far this season. No points to the German's name. Could this be the race this season where he finally breaks his duck and finally gets points on the board? We'll have to wait and see, as 78 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix will decide this one. For right now, though, we've still got 2 minutes left in this qualifying session, and Alonso and Schumacher both head out on circuits for one last gas push at trying to either maintain or try and grab pole position for themselves. If you're Michael Schumacher, 0.03 of a second up then for David Coulthard through the first sector. The 2000 world champion and the fastest lap holder around this circuit in that very same season will be looking to possibly try and get himself a bit higher than seventh row of the grid. It's not quite where we have often been seeing BAR this season. Seems that the slow speed nature of the Monaco Street Circuit does not suit this type of car.
If I may explain something to a new guy here, to Luca Drobic. So basically, the player control teams means that Jaden either gives or assigns or allows people to make their own team so that they can manage it in Formula 1, GP2, or even Formula 3, I think.
There's no Formula 3 teams like that.
Oh, okay then. So yeah, Formula 1 or GP2, at the moment they're closed. I'm pretty certain it's shut for everyone. As soon as there's a gap, then you can just ask for a team or make your own. I did that with GP2 Chimera. So as soon as there's a gap, you can just take it, Luca. Hope that answered you.
They also claimed a fantastic 1-2 finish, the Chimera Autobacks team in GP2, and it's also put them in contention for a potential Constructors' Championship fight if they can keep up that momentum. As of right now, though, Ralf Schumacher will be looking to get himself an improvement in lap time. A 10th of a second is needed to jump ahead of Nicolas Minassian. However, does not find it on this lap. Alonso and Schumacher both looking pretty close to their personal bests, as Alonso not quite matching himself through a lap here at Monte Carlo, as he's 300ths down in his last lap in the qualifying session. Checkered flag is now waving out there on circuit, so those drivers currently on a lap would have to complete these ones, and that will be their session completed. Michael Schumacher seems like the only real threat to Fernando Alonso in terms of a front-running pace setter that could potentially knock him off his perch. We'll have to wait and see if Michael Schumacher is capable of beating Fernando Alonso here today. On board then with the 5-time world champion Michael Schumacher in the McLaren Mercedes, and out the final corner for him. Probably won't be pole position, but will this lap be good enough to take him onto the front row? No, it will not. An 18.1 sees no improvement in his lap time, which means that it's almost certain that it will be Fernando Alonso on pole position here at Monaco.
Well, that is another pole for Fernando, and Trulli just right behind him with the time just 0.3 slow. Well, we haven't seen much from him today. There's Button and Button and Nakano still in a lap. Nakano doesn't improve. He is out.
And same with his teammates as well. So both Minardis and both Bootsons out there on circuit. Jensen Button's on an outlap. So there's your confirmation then. Fernando Alonso on pole position around the streets of Monaco. Trulli in second. Schumacher third. Over half a second away from the top spot. Then comes Pantano, Raikkonen, Barrichello, Montoya and Speraffico in the lead Toyota, completing the top 8, with Minassian and Ralf Schumacher getting his best qualifying of the season, splitting the two dams with Furman in 11th. Not a great qualifying qualifying from David Coulthard as he starts down in 12th, just 2 places ahead of his teammate Dan Weldon, with Webber sandwiched in between. Then comes Wilson, Massa, D'Amata, Pitsonia, Genet and Button in the top 20. Sato in the second Honda, a long way off his teammate. He certainly needs to find an improvement if he wants to keep his seat at the team. Not even next season, possibly for the rest of this season. He needs to find performance and quick, even despite the poor performance of the Japanese team. Della Rosa is up next, followed by Heidfeld and Glock. Then comes the returning Giancarlo Fisichella, making it onto the grid, but only just. As he is in 25th place, just a couple of hundredths ahead of Benoit Trellier. Of course, Heidfeld, with that 5-place grid penalty thanks to his engine exploding, means that he is demoted from 23rd to 26th, as the regulations allow him to remain on the grid. That means that the 4 cars knocked out, Patrick Friesacker, Shinji Nakano, Joel Baumgartner and Thiago Monteiro. Join us in a few moments, or we'll be back for the race. Hello, everybody. We are here for 78 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix. Exciting stuff ahead of us as Alonso starts on pole position with Jarno Trulli second, and then we'll just go through the grid order now. Schumacher third, Pantano fourth, Raikkonen, Barrichello, Montoya, Sperrifico, Menassian, Ralf Schumacher, Furman, Coulthard, Webber, Wilson, Weldon, Wilson, Massa, D'Amata, Pittonia, Genet, Button, Sato, De La Rosa, Glock, Fisichella, Trulli, and Dick Heidfeld, who qualified up in 23rd, but with a 5-place grid penalty, will start last. I also want to say, if you get a GP2 entry, then you will have to take Renault engines because it is a spec series, and everyone in the spec series takes the same engine supply. And Renault currently supplies all the teams in GP2. We'll be starting this in a few minutes, but right now, I will be 2 minutes and right back.
In the meantime, you're all stuck with me. So, yeah, I've seen some of your suggestions for a team. What is this, dude? Like what, mate? I know I've said some wild shit as well here, but come on. Like, nah, just nah. And also, what you're gonna have to run with the Subaru Flat 12 or the Life W12. In the meantime, we have a little bit of a warm up there. 3 minutes before the race begins. And Mosler, oh god. Also, Fiat is technically Ferrari. And yeah, Peter, we do need another engine supply that is not Renault. We've had a few engine explosions. This
I am
season.
back.
Yeah, there he is.
Hello, Peter. Welcome in. You have joined us just at the right time as we are about to go racing here at Monaco for the 2004 Monaco Grand Prix. Predictions in chat as to who you think will take victory. My money is on the unstoppable force there was in qualifying, that being Fernando Alonso. I think he's going to take victory today. Behind him, I think we're going to see a brand new, not brand new podium finisher to the season, a brand new podium finisher as in a maiden podium for someone in their whole Formula 1 career. So someone like a Sperrifico, a Menassian, a Furman, a Weldon maybe, Mark Webber could be another one. And yeah. Any other predictions in chat? Schumacher win with Alonso DNF. I don't think Jose is going to like that one particularly.
First of all, FF, I will make sure your team never sees the light of day. You will have a boycott by Chimera if you ever think of getting in after that.
If you can't tell, Jose is a mega fan of Fernando Alonso.
Yes, exactly. I even made a bet with a friend that if Fernando ever won the 33rd, I will get that number tattooed on my back. However, Honda is dog shit.
Barrichello win with 7 finishes. That's a good take there, Blue Storm.
My personal bet here will be Fernando wins with maybe Schumacher second.
Fisichella on the podium.
Fisichella on the podium.
That would be quite the sight, considering he's 24th on the grid and not looking like he's in great form, at least for this race weekend. But welcome in Rhino, welcome in Dylan. Fewest finishers ever. What, so we're going to have 2 cars reaching the checkered flag? Interesting. I hope not. It'd be pretty boring by the end of the race.
Leave the predictions to me. Because you goddamn know what happened to your driver in Formula 3. If anyone has to make predictions, it's the one that somehow gets it right. So, unless you want a qualifying mishap for your cars, I wouldn't say no to a Mercedes explosion today, either for McLaren or Brabham. I'm getting banned from his server, I swear. If any of his drivers don't finish, he's gonna blame me. I don't care though, shit's funny.
Don't blame it on the night. Blame it on Jose. Blame it on
Nah,
Jose.
blame it on the Benny. Blame it on the Benny. Always blame Benny. I mean, considering it's Monaco, yeah, I agree with Horizon there. It is Monaco. It might be big pile up or one of the big names out early, so...
Can list
Wouldn't
off
be
all the
too
teams
surprised.
today. I can. We've got the Renault team who are currently in first and fourth. We got Trulli and Barrichello driving for Ferrari. Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen second and fifth. Williams driven by Montoya and reserve driver Marc Genet down in 19th. Sperrifico in 8th alongside returning driver Giancarlo Fisichella in 24th. Then we got the two dams of Manassian and Furman, the two Hondas of Ralf Schumacher and Takuma Sato, the two BARs of Coulthard and Dan Wheldon, the two Red Bulls of Webber and Massa, the two Rose Motorsport cars of Wilson and Trellier down in 25th. Then we got the two Jags of D'Amata and Button, the two Brabhams of Pittonia and Heidfeld, and the two Opals of De La Rosa and Glock. No Boutsen Energy Racing cars and no Minardis. But without further ado then, 78 laps ahead of the drivers. Here we go.
Hello there. Welcome to Monte Carlo. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Fernando Alonso first. Jarno Trulli second. The McLaren driver performed brilliantly in qualifying to line up third. Giorgio Pantano fourth. Raikkonen couldn't quite match the pace of his teammate. He starts fifth. Rubens Barrichello sixth. Montoya seventh.
Riccardo Sperrifico.
Eighth.
Nicolas Menassian.
Ninth. Schumacher 10th. Ralf Furman 11th. David Coulthard 12th. Mark Webber 13th.
Dan Wheldon.
14th. Justin Wilson 15th. Massa 16th. Cristiano D'Amata 17th. Antonio Pizzonia 18th. Genet 19th. Jensen Button 20th. Takuma Sato 21st. Pedro de la Rosa 22nd. T. Monaco 23rd. Giancarlo Fisichella 24th.
With Trulli and Heidfeld on the back row of the grid, it is time to go racing here at Monte Carlo. All that await the drivers are the 5 red lights, and then we'll be underway. The lights are green, there's racing to be seen. It's a good start for Fernando Alonso as Michael Schumacher's got the jump on Jarno Trulli in towards turn 1. It's a good start then from the McLaren, and I think someone has possibly stalled from behind. Everyone seems to have got away well. It's just a mini-map glitch. As down towards Massenet for the first time, or up towards Massenet, it's Fernando Alonso that leads from Schumacher, Trulli, Pantano, Raikkonen, Barrichello, Montoya and Sperrifico completing the top 8.
Minassian hard on Sperrifico's field.
Oh, and down the inside for Ralf Schumacher. I think he got a...
Michael Ralf Schumacher trying to make a move. That's a daring.
And Jarno Trulli's back past Michael Schumacher as well for second place. I think Manassian has also overtaken Riccardo Sperrifico down at the hairpin for 8th position, so that's the Dams up into the points already. So it's a good start from the Dams as De La Rosa seems to be in trouble. He's fallen all the way down to last place. He's battling with Benoit Trellier for that last position, but it's Alonso that leads by a whole second ahead of Jarno Trulli in second. Michael Schumacher in third, Pantano 4th, Raikkonen 5th, Barrichello 6th, Montoya 7th and Manassian 8th. Sperrifico in hot pursuit of the points in 9th, with Ralf Schumacher getting back ahead of Ralf Furman to maintain his spot in the top 10. It's also a good start from Justin Wilson, who's made up places on that start, as well as Marc Genet. Jensen Button's fallen a few places back as Fisichella's gained a few, as well as Nick Heidfeld. Ending the first lap then, it's Fernando Alonso leading us into the second lap, as we'll see who gained and lost the most places. D'Amata up to Jene up 2, Heidfeld up 2, De La Rosa down 3, the biggest loser of the lot.
Great start by Fernando, opening up the gap to Trulli. Fantastic move by Ralf Schumacher there into Casino. That was certainly a good attempt, as he's now chasing the Brazilian driver in the Toyota. It's one of the Honda driver can do a little bit of a twitch there, almost hitting the wall. Down into the hairpin. Nothing seems to come out there. But that's Mark Webber overtaking someone. I think that was...
He was trying to move there on Ralph Berman, but couldn't find his way through. The Red Bull has often been twitchy on the rear, and hopefully for his sake, he's able to keep it in a straight line for this race weekend and get a good result out of that car that clearly has a lot of pace.
So far, no accidents or mechanical failures. So far, so clean, but don't let me allow to speak a little bit early. As we see now everyone in close formation.
As Barrichello's in the wall.
Yes,
Barrichello's in the wall down at the
Barrichello.
swimming pool chicane. He's lost his front wing, and the Ferrari driver is going to be tumbling down the order. Let's get a replay of what's just happened with Rubens Barrichello, who was had a fairly decent run of it lately with points places in most of the rounds previously. However, it seems that his race has already come undone here at Monaco. It seems that he's had an incident down at the swimming pool chicane. Yeah, he's just clipped the barrier there, spun his car around. He's able to carry the car, keep the car carrying on, but he's certainly going to need a new front wing, an unscheduled pit stop, and he will be pretty much at the back of the field when rejoining out of the pit lane. Genet has been fairly middling for Williams in his time at the team. He's done, this is his 4th race now, and so far he has only scored 1 point in the Williams BMW. It's a fairly upper midfield car rather than being anything to do with the front runners, as Dan Weldon's also into the box to serve a pit stop. I don't know what's happened with him, but we'll get a quick replay. Oh, Heidfeld's out. Right.
Heidfeld out, and I said that.
Oh, dear me.
Predicted that shit before the race began. Well, that is the first retirement of the day with...
and it's almost the same mistake that Barrichello made.
That is far from the best weekend for Heidfeld. That is...
Where is Nick Heidfeld then?
Not ideal for Brabham.
Oh, it's down in towards turn 1. And he's just had a pretty big shunt there with, I think, Giancarlo Fisichella, who seems to have gotten away with it. And there Nick Heidfeld down at turn 1. And he's going to be the first retirement of this race. We'll get a replay of that one because we did not see it. But Alonso leads. He's continuing to extend the gap ahead of Jarno Trulli. That's just a glitch of when you watch someone while in the pit. It'll come back. It'll come back. Don't worry.
That's perfectly normal. Don't be too bothered about it.
Let's see what happened then. On board then with Nick Heidfeld. Suspension failure leaves him out of control and slamming into the back there of Fisichella. Fortunately for him, I think he's able to carry on, although I think he's about to lose out. Maybe to Benoit Trulli, not quite. But Nick Heidfeld, a shame for him as he becomes the first retirement of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Orange Line, that's wipeout mode. That's wipeout mode, yeah, definitely.
Michael Schumacher all over the back of Jarno Trulli still, as he's not letting him have an inch of breathing room. As there, Marc Genet has just been overtaken, I think, by Felipe Massa. He's also now falling under pressure from Antonio Pizzonia, that is directly behind him, and the Brabham is really putting the pressure on the rival engine supplier of BMW, being a Mercedes-powered car. Benoit Trulli, another one. I think he's just made the same mistake that Barrichello and Weldon have done previously, and Trulli is going to need to get himself back into the pit box and get a new front wing. A lot of incidents already early on here at the Monaco Grand Prix, but none of them resulting in retirements, apart from the mechanical failure of Nick Heidfeld with a suspension failure.
In the meantime, there's a question from Sampas. Will Toyota bring back Villeneuve if Fisichella does not perform?
Possibly, although Villeneuve's contract with Toyota has now expired. He was only on until Giancarlo Fisichella returns, so it would be down to Villeneuve to sign a potential contract. But of course, being a world champion on a full-time basis will probably want quite a bit of cash to be lured to the team, as now Ralf Schumacher up in 9th place, chasing down Sperrifico in that final points place following the crash of Rubens Barrichello, as the German certainly putting the pressure on the Brazilian. The first ever time that Sperrifico has been around Monaco, and he's certainly putting on a good performance right now, as Jarno Trulli sets the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1 minute 19.9.
The chase continues here with the German driver giving chase to Sperrifico. Doesn't really seem to be able to catch up with that Toyota, trying to build away a gap from Ralf Schumacher there. And Peter Reyes, come on, Casey. Look. Oh, and that's Jenny. Jenny's out.
And Peter was just talking about Marc Genet. He's out the race already with an engine failure. The Williams, the BMW power plant in the back of the Williams letting go on lap 5, very early on indeed. And Marc Genet is out of this race. So a shame for him, as he could have had a chance at potential points if he stayed on the straight and narrow.
Well, Peter, answering your question, it's not going to be Moreno Sobrapto. It's not going to be at all. The replacements for Williams have been confirmed during qualifying. It's okay. Dude, I keep getting jump scared by the game saying the name of Trulli. Come on. It's going to be Alexander Vers and Jenson Button.
I think he means if Genet doesn't perform, then like before the end of the season, then who would replace him? I'm not exactly sure, but it'd probably have to be someone who isn't contracted to another team at such late notice.
You reckon it could be Villeneuve?
Could be possibly Villeneuve, a return to Williams, possibly on the cards, perchance. But as of right now, Genet in that seat for the foreseeable future until Frank Williams says otherwise, as his other driver Montoya currently holding off the charging Nicolas Manassian, who is on the heels currently of the Colombian. I do not have a look back button down. I don't have a rear facing camera, that's a shame. Oh, I have it here. There we go. I got my wheel still plugged in. And one of my wheel buttons is the look back button. I'm not going to do that too often. So Alonso then leads by 1.2 seconds. He's not really pulling away as what we expected him to do, as Giorgio Pantano now with the fastest lap of the race from 4th position. They're all pulling away ever so slightly from Kimi Raikkonen, as well as Juan Pablo Montoya quite considerably. Raikkonen pulling out about a second a lap on the Colombian. Behind Sperrifico in turn, he's holding up a train of cars. You'd have to say maybe even down to the likes of Antonio Pizzonia is the next car that's not in this train, as a lot of drivers, so often the case is, here struggling to overtake one another. But Monaco on F1 Challenge is not known for its overtakes, but rather known for its chaotic nature with its incidents, in which we have already seen, what, 4 incidents already, or 5, including Marc Genet. So, yeah. But a chaotic start to the Monaco Grand Prix, and Michael Schumacher continuing to pile the pressure on championship rival Jarno Trulli.
Well, we're still focused on Schumacher and Trulli here, but something I do have to say, all those accidents we've seen around the swimming pool and such, Barrichello and Trulli, those are really similar to... Okay, never mind. I thought something happened. To Furman's little shunt in...
What are you just talking about, Ralph Furman?
Dude,
You were literally about to start talking about
Why?
Ralph Furman, and then he's gone and lost his front wing also at the swimming pool chicane. So now Ralph Furman needs to come into the box and have an unscheduled pit stop.
It happens every time I open my mouth and mention a driver. Why? Honestly, at this point, I don't even know what to do. Fucking Pantano engine failure or some shit like that. What is this, dude?
Out of the
Anytime
pits
I
then
open my
for
mouth-
Ralph Furman, and he rejoins down in 23rd, only ahead of Benoit Trulli, who's considerably far off the rest of the field. Dan Weldon's not grown any wheels back yet, so we'll stay away from him for now, as he's very legal car trundles around the circuit down in 22nd position. Fernando Alonso, though, still trying to pull out a gap ahead of Jarno Trulli. Is about 1.6 seconds now ahead of the Italian, who has in turn got Michael Schumacher and Giorgio Pantano in tow. Not much happening on circuit right now, as Ralf Schumacher still trying to get past Riccardo Speraffico by all means necessary, but still can't find his way through so far. I think there's actually been an overtake down at Tabac, where I think Felipe Massa's just overtaken Cristiano De Mata to get him up into 13th position. Justin Wilson in turn is also having a great race so far for the Rose Motorsport crew, 4 places away from the points in this early stage of the race, up in 12th position, albeit is falling off the back of David Coulthard ahead.
Ralf Schumacher still hot on Speraffico, but nothing can be made out at the moment. He's still close in. He might make a move here. He's close enough. And no, he doesn't. He decides to be more patient and quite careful of that.
Oh, there's
Just a little bit
contact
of
between
contact.
Schumacher and Speraffico there. Very nearly being able to make a move. But maybe Ralf Schumacher getting a bit adventurous on his overtake. Maybe a bit too aggressive to try and get through on the Brazilian. As we've seen so far this season that the Toyota has the straight line speed advantage over its Japanese rival. But in turn, Ralf Schumacher has to be careful of Mark Webber directly behind, as he just had a half look in towards the Novell chicane.
I was
The top
just going
5
to say
remain.
that. It's going to be a two-front fight for Ralf Schumacher here. He has to fend off Webber while also attacking Speraffico.
Very difficult job to do that in the world of Formula 1, but if anyone's going to do it, one of the top names on your list has to be world champion Ralf Schumacher. He's yet to score a point so far in this season, but is running in a spectacular 9th place. As Rubens Barrichello, further
Barrichello
troubles for
again.
him down at the chicane, and he's lost a
Oh,
front
he's
wing
stuck.
once again. I think he's
He
been
is
involved in
stuck,
more
and
than that
there
as
he
well,
goes.
because his rear wing is a bit deformed. We'll get a replay of what has just happened with Rubens Barrichello. Not for the first time this race that Barrichello has been involved in an incident, so it's looking like it's been an absolutely terrible race for Rubens Barrichello.
Certainly want to forget for the Brazilian driver. Same mistake, I believe. Yeah, same mistake, same turn, same. Oh, that's a big one. That could have ended up really, really worse.
And he's going to need another front wing now and get himself into the box. Benoit Trulli is going to overtake him. And I think Rubens Barrichello, within the opening 10 laps, is going to be lapped by the race leaders. So this has been a pretty shocking performance for the Ferrari man.
Certainly a weekend to remember to forget. Sorry, for the Brazilian driver and Ferrari. But maybe he can improve. He's going to get lapped, but the next race could be his. And they still
Obvious.
have a fight on it with Jarno Trulli, as Michael Schumacher gets the fastest lap of the race.
Barrichello then has rejoined it in between Giorgio Pantano and Kimi Raikkonen. So the Ferrari man is indeed a lap down on the top 4 right now. And he'll be looking to try and put in some good laps to keep up with his fellow, normally his fellow leaders. Not in this case right now, as he is down in 24th and last place.
In the meantime, yeah, it looks like Wilson is doing a little bit of a hold up there for the drivers behind him.
It does a little bit, as Justin Wilson now under pressure from Felipe Massa in that battle for 12th place. Fortunately though for Justin Wilson, if there's any car, or rather any track that you want a car stop behind you, it's the Monaco Grand Prix, of course. Ever so difficult to overtake around this circuit, but Ralf Schumacher has nearly been able to prove otherwise in this race, as Michael Schumacher now quickly closing in that gap to Jarno Trulli, who is in turn losing the back of Fernando Alonso. 11 laps in now, and Fernando Alonso leads by 2 seconds ahead of Trulli. Schumacher in third, Pantano, Raikkonen, Montoya, Manassi and Sperrifico complete the top 10. Sperrifico already 36 seconds off the race lead, so he's more than 3 seconds a lap slower than the current leading pace, which is quite shocking to see, considering the potential pace that he has had in that car at points this season. Ralf Schumacher, though, without a response to try and get through on the Brazilian so far.
Well, in the meantime, nothing much going on at the back. Trulli about to get lapped as well. Soon enough, then Furman struggling as well. Not really a good one. No, I'm not in UFF. I'm more focused on the race. But well, this might be it. This might be it. No, never mind. In the back we have Webber and Coulthard had added as well.
No one swapping positions as of right now, but Felipe Massa looking towards the outside there of the Lowe's hairpin. No cigar though for the Brazilian. As the next race, by the way, is not the Canadian Grand Prix. Next race is the British Grand Prix at the Silverstone circuit. Canada's not until later on in the season in this series, as Massa still struggling to find a way through on Justin Wilson as of right now, as is Ralf Schumacher trying to get past Riccardo Sperrifico. Both cars powered by Toyota, and both cars holding up a train of other competitors, as Michael Schumacher really needs to be careful here of at least trying to get past Benoit Trulli in a timely fashion, so he doesn't get overtaken by Giorgio Pantano behind. Trulli's gotten through. Michael Schumacher should be able to get through into the Novel chicane, although Trulli's going to leave his nose in there, and Schumacher gets through. Giorgio Pantano up next in the Renault, and unfortunately he's caught him in the swimming pool chicane, so it looks like it's not going to be a way through for Giorgio Pantano for a number of corners, and Michael Schumacher is going to dash off into the distance. No Watkins Glen this season, as it is on a rotation deal with Indianapolis, and this season it is Indianapolis with its turn, as Watkins Glen was last season.
Michael Schumacher getting frustrated at how Trulli's still holding up against him. Even though Schumacher has better pace with that with the fastest lap of the race, nothing going on at the moment after those jump scares by Barrichello, Trulli, Furman, Jene and Heidfeld, which could lead the race to... Dude!
Sorry
what?
to interrupt. Timo Glock without a front wing
timing.
down at the swimming pool chicane. And he is going to need a unscheduled pit stop here. I definitely should have made more space for my notebook to write down damages for the Monaco Grand Prix, but oh well.
Yeah, it's not going to be... That's not going to look good at the end of the day, huh? It's going to be quite a lot of front wings gone. Then again, we focus on Ralf Schumacher with the Honda. Quite a disappointing season for him.
Oh, Justin Wilson onto two wheels there as he headed through the bottom Mirabeau, and has actually managed to catch up now to Coulthard, Webber, Schumacher and Sperrifico in their battle for the final points place. So Wilson with some good pace right now. But I expect that we're going to see some pit stops fairly soon, as we're on lap 15, and I imagine that the three stoppers will be in somewhere around the lap 20 mark to service their car for the first time. Manassian almost certainly has a free pit stop at this current stage, as he's 22 seconds ahead of Nicholas Manassian, who is the next car behind.
You mean Sparfico?
Yes, I do mean Sparfico. My bad.
I mean, unless he copied himself, I don't think you can have two drivers of the same guy. But yeah, as you say, that's certainly going to be a free stop, with Sparfico holding back Ralf Schumacher and Manassian now fighting with Montoya.
The recent upgrades, though, for dams have certainly put them in good stead, especially against the likes of Toyota and Williams, as Ralf Furman has shown. Manassian not being as lucky with his strategy, especially in San Marino. He was ahead of Ralf Furman before the rain came down, and as such was pretty much screwed over with a poor strategy.
Gonna find it from Gallifreyan Ren here in a minute. Manassian's ahead of Manassian. That's a fine Moraism. I'm coining that shit, thank you much. Moraism, yeah. In the meantime, Schumacher still chasing down Sparfico, who is doing the best impression of a what was it?
A rolling roadblock.
Thank you.
Oh, and it's a big shame for the Brabham team, as now it's another Brabham with more trouble and another front wing loss for them, as Antonio Pizzoni now makes his way into the box. He was running quite well as well there. He was running somewhere amongst the top 15. However, his race has quickly come undone on the end of lap 15. As now
everything's going the wrong way for Brabham.
the leaders have now caught up to that's Timo Glock in the Opel just ahead of them. Championship standings currently, Kimi Raikkonen leads by 2 ahead of Giorgio Pantano and a further 3 ahead of Alonso. So it's Raikkonen 32, Pantano 30, Alonso 27 and Schumacher 25. In the constructors, Renault and McLaren are level on points, as Ferrari are in 3rd, with BAR and Toyota equal on points for 4th. Schumacher can't find his way through there on the Opel of Timo Glock. Finds his way through, though, at the bottom, Mirabeau, and will continue his charge to try and get through on Jarno Trulli. That was very close with the wall there for Michael Schumacher. That could have been his race potentially over there and then if he crashed into the wall at the exit of Portier.
In the meantime, I have reports from some contacts on the track that there has been loud bangs heard from Brabham's garage and loud German screaming. I don't know why that could be, but we might have to call security for this one.
Ralf Schumacher again with a move up the inside of Mirabeau on Riccardo Sparfico. The Brazilian having absolutely none of it as they head towards the hairpin, as the Honda driver still cannot find his way through.
I almost saw Coulthard trying to make a move on Webber as well.
A lot of cars now in this train. Goes all the way down to Jenson Button in 16th position. Such is the lack of pace from Riccardo Sparfico right now. But Justin Wilson's going to be into the box at the end of this lap. Maybe that's why he has been showing more pace than what has been previously shown, as Rubens Barrichello out the race. He's crashed down at turn 1. He's out the race. The 3rd retirement of this Grand Prix. And we'll see what happens.
Oh, he had a bent rear wing.
And a bent front wing as well. You can see there he's completely clobbered his front wing in something.
That front wing looks like looks like straight out of 2026. My goodness me. I mean, I understand that they want to test new regulations, but that's not the way you do it.
And it looks like a failure on Rubens Barrichello's car. I think it may have been a brake failure or a suspension failure there for Rubens Barrichello. Brake failure confirmed by the team. And he now becomes the 3rd retirement of the race. Out of all the things I expected him to retire from, a mechanical failure was certainly not one of them. Anyway, Justin Wilson then into the box, followed in by Takuma Sato. So it's a battle in the pits between Sato and Wilson. Rose Toyota versus Honda. And we'll see who comes out on top. Dan Weldon into the box again on the end of lap 18. And hopefully he gets some wheels put on his car. I think he might be able to now, which is good for him. Already in though for a second stop in this race on lap 19. Not exactly sure what Dan Weldon's strategists have got planned for him, but he's going to rejoin now in 22nd place and a lap down on the race leaders. Michael Schumacher has made his way through the traffic just behind Jarno Trulli, still looking for a way through. Giorgio Pansto behind Antonio Pizzonia as he loses a couple of seconds behind the Brazilian. Kimi Raikkonen, though, has lost even more time relative to the Italian, as Fernando Alonso looks to negotiate. Takuma Sato seems to do so with ease, as now he makes his way to the Novell chicane.
Well, at least this time it was not as... the lapping was not as bad as Michael Schumacher. Oh, someone's getting ready.
That's Renault in the pits, so that's got to be Michael Schumacher and Giorgio Pantano into the pits at the end of this lap. Surprising to see both of them into the box so early on in this race. That almost confirms that they are on a 3-stop strategy here in Monaco today, and I imagine it could be fairly close between Schumacher, Pantano and Montoya on the rejoin. Into the pits then comes Michael Schumacher. As oh yeah, that's just a glitch of this track. An 8.7 second stop then for Michael Schumacher. Not a great stop considering not that much fuel has been put into his car, you'd have to assume. But Giorgio Pantano's even longer by a 1/10 of a second.
They're getting...
Oh, Alonso's off! Alonso's off!
Alonso's out of the race!
Unbelievable! Race leader Fernando Alonso retires with brake failure here at the Monaco Grand Prix, and Jarno Trulli has taken the lead.
What happened? That was a mechanical failure for sure, but was it the engine brakes?
It was a brake failure. It was confirmed by the team.
Another brake failure.
We'll see what happened. He was trying to lap one of the Rose Toyotas.
Disaster for Renault. That is... oh no.
Oh, and there goes Alonso. Through goes Trulli. He'll be punching his fist up in the air with that one, as Raikkonen now moves up to second place thanks to the pit stops of Schumacher and Pantano. Trulli takes the lead then, 9 seconds in front ahead of the Finn of Kimi Raikkonen. Michael Schumacher has rejoined in what is now third place due to Alonso's retirement, and that's also going to put Ralf Schumacher into the points, subject to him completing about 4 more corners. Coulthard into the box on the end of lap 19, so he's another one that's possibly on a 3-stop strategy. For Ralf Schumacher though, it's a points paying position for him right now.
Well, that is certainly a change of dynamics, completely revamped of everything, following the retirement of our current, by then, race leader. This can certainly shake up things on the points position, as we've seen now Webber getting close to Ralf Schumacher.
I think Schumacher made a mistake out of Mirabeau because he clipped the inside of Sperrifico and nearly lost the car as a result. So Ralf Schumacher really trying to put the hammer down to get past Sperrifico by any means necessary, especially since he's definitely considering the fact that Sperrifico could be on a very heavy fuel load and going a long way in this race. Mark Webber though, he's boxing early, or it could be actually Felipe Massa. One of the Red Bulls is going to be in at the end of this lap. And whether it's Webber or Massa could put them in a world of trouble, but I'm sure it won't be much more than what they're already in, considering how much they're stuck behind the Brazilian of Sperrifico. Into the pits then for Felipe Massa on the end of lap 20. He boxes from what is 10th position in this race, and he will fall to around the pace or the position of Pedro de la Rosa unless this stop is not fast enough. 8.5 second stop, fairly lengthy there for the Brazilian, and Pedro de la Rosa is going to make his way down the main straight. Fisichella is going to make his way down the main straight. Furman's through, and where will he rejoin? Just ahead of David Coulthard, that is. Coulthard looking towards the outside of turn 1, but no use for the 2000 world champion, as he is remaining behind the Red Bull of Felipe Massa. So not looking like a good race either for BAR, with both cars outside of the top 15. Fastest lap of the race for Michael Schumacher, 1:18.9, and he's putting the hammer down now. He's got the fresh, clean air in front of him, and he's pulling away ahead of Giorgio Pantano by quite a rate a lap, about a second and a half, I think it is. We'll check that now. Last lap was 0.8 faster than Giorgio Pantano, and has extended that gap now to about 7 seconds to the man currently in 4th place. And that could be the case, Peter, that Pantano has been told to conserve brakes and try and hold on to what race position he has so far, which will be quite frustrating considering he has over 55 laps to go in the Monaco Grand Prix.
55 laps to go, but certainly more to come with those 55 laps. Not just these retirements, but we could see more. We would definitely see more battles. I am pretty sure one of the top drivers will crash or have another mechanical mishap like Fernando. Probably it could might. And this is maybe going to be a bit outlandish, but I do think that it's going to be Michael Schumacher with a failure. He's pushing quite hard, but with the fastest lap of the race at the moment. But one mistake and it's over for him. As we have already seen with Barrichello, Cheluya, not Weldon.
Yeah, Weldon's crashed.
Estonia, Weldon's crashed as well. Yeah. Weldon, we've seen that happen a lot. So certainly, I'd expect another mistake from the.
Thank you, Overtime, for subscribing. Yeah, Michael Schumacher certainly on a tear right now, as he's trying to immediately catch up to the back of his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. Whether the Finn lets through his more experienced teammate or not will remain to be seen, or whether there will be tensions rising at McLaren as the two of them duel for potential championship glory. Jarno Trulli then, a race update. Jarno Trulli leads by 9 seconds ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, as the Finn has not stopped, nor has the Italian. The leader of those that have pit so far is Michael Schumacher. He's 12 seconds off the lead with the fastest lap of the race. Pantano in 4th, with Montoya 5th, Manassi in 6th, Sperrifico and Ralf Schumacher completing the points. Sperrifico doing a good job of holding up the cars behind right now, as the gap between him and the car in front in Manassian is 30 seconds after just 23 laps. Mark Webber in 9th, with D'Amato completing the top 10. Then comes Button, De La Rosa, Fisichella, Furman and Massa. A lot of those drivers already into the box at some point in this race. Coulthard down in 16th after sustaining damage to his car, as well as Justin Wilson. Did Coulthard just pit? I think Coulthard just pit regularly. Wilson, Sato, Pitsonia, Glock, Weldon has already pit twice in this race, and Trellier last of the running order, down in 22nd for retirement so far, with Fernando Alonso out with a brake failure, as was Nick Heidfeld. Engine failure saw the end of Marc Genaud's race, as Rubens Barrichello also had brake failure despite crashing into the wall several times before. Michael Schumacher there, lapping Takuma Sato. He might actually hit the wall there, Takuma Sato, pretty heavily, but he's able to carry on for now. I think he might have made a bit of a mistake behind in the background there, as now Schumacher has caught up to the back of Kimi Raikkonen.
Well, a slight bit of a close call there with the wall, but that was Raikkonen. As now they have to deal with a lap car that's truly about to lap Furman.
So Trulli already up to 14th. Yeah, so Trulli already up to 14th place in terms of lapping cars. He's going to look towards the outside here of Ralf Furman to try and get through, but Furman needs to hold his track position ahead of Felipe Massa, who is directly behind. Schumacher, though, pulling off that move around the outside of, I think that is Justin Wilson in 17th, and has now got his teammate in his sights. Gap to leader, 9 seconds, but that is being assisted by the lap traffic that he is having to progress through.
Now he has to lap Fisichella, the prodigal son, returning to Toyota, not a precisely good fashion. But then again, we have to remember he suffered a big accident as Jenson Button into the pits this lap. Pit stop time for the Jaguar, who will be under new management. Jaguar will switch to be under. Come on, I know this guy. I know this guy. But come on, forgot the name. Walkinshaw.
Yeah, Tom Walkinshaw bought out the team last time out before the Spanish Grand Prix. He bought out Jaguar, and they will be rebranded, possibly with a 60% stake in the team. Welcoming Captain Rage. Yeah, Alonso's brakes have failed from pole position. Schumacher, Pantano have made a pit stop. Raikkonen has not so far, and Trulli is negotiating a lot of lap traffic, as we're now about 1/3 race distance in this Grand Prix. Trulli makes his way through on Pedro de la Rosa to make his way ahead of the 12th place man in this race. Ralf Schumacher into the box, as is Cristiano de Mata, who seems to be going pretty slow through the first.
Spinning sector 3, that must be the entry, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's someone else into the pits. So both Jaguars into the box, I think. Yes, it is. Don't mind the fact that they don't double stack, but Ralf Schumacher may rejoin here ahead of a number of cars that the others won't, as there round the outside, Ralph Furman of Fisichella. That's an audacious move, and that's a brilliant move there from the Irishman, capitalising on Giancarlo Fisichella's hesitancy with Ralf Schumacher coming out the pits. And Furman now up into 11th. He's got Ralf Schumacher, so the two Ralphs now duelling out for the top 10 positions. The two Jags, meanwhile, have just rejoined in 15th and 16th behind the two McLarens, who have just lapped the pair of them.
Well, this is getting a bit of a slow fest with all the lap cars, as they're already gone up to 9th. They're already lapping up to the points position. Next up on the chopping block is Mark Webber.
Yeah, it seems that Jarno Trulli has got daylight to the next car in front of him, as a lot of the traffic is actually being held up by Riccardo Sperafico, and those that have then just boxed means that yeah, a lot of the cars are essentially stuck in one place. Captain Rage, both the Minardis and both the Bootsons failed to qualify, as Nick Heidfeld suffered a 5-place grid penalty for an engine failure, as there is yellow flags in the chicane. Michael Schumacher's off. Schumacher's off. And you said he was going to be pushing too hard, and Schumacher has crashed into the barriers. Schumacher without a front wing, and he's going to be into the box for the second time in this race. He's going to fall down a number of places, you'd have to imagine, and Michael Schumacher's race is almost certainly ruined from here on in. I've just done it again.
I knew Schumacher was pushing too hard for nothing, and this is the proof. He was just ahead of just behind his teammate, but he pushed too much just for the fastest lap, like as he did before. And bam! Right like Barrichello, Trailer, Weldon, literally, yeah, almost over.
Rejoining there.
And that's gone. That was a dangerous move there. That's damage for, I think that might have been Ralf Schumacher.
No, that was Takuma Sato going through there. It seems that Sato is perfectly capable of carrying on, though, so there may not be a penalty for the German. As Nicolas Manassian now ahead of Michael Schumacher. Schumacher down to 6th. Furman, though, off. He's off at Portier. I think he's spun round. He's going to get that restarted in 16th position, so another incident here at the Monaco Grand Prix, and the Irishman, his race has come undone very quickly here, and the likeliness of him scoring points in this race have greatly reduced with that incident. Let's see what happened then with Ralph Furman.
Unfortunate weekend for the Irishman. He was doing quite well, recovering from that strange qualifying session for him.
He's just gone wide there, making an alternative line,
almost hitting Fisichella there.
And unfortunately for Ralph Furman, he's now going to fall under pressure from Justin Wilson. But I imagine that the Dams has got pace in hand to pull ahead of the Rose Toyota. Say that, and the... Oh, Raikkonen's in the wall! The two McLarens have both been off, and I think Raikkonen's out the race.
Yeah, Raikkonen's out, that's
championship leader! That's the championship leader, he's crashed out! And Raikkonen will not go any further in the Monaco Grand Prix.
Championship implications right there. Kimi Raikkonen out of the race. Kimi Raikkonen, championship leader by 2 points, is out of the Monaco Grand Prix after stalling his car and crashing into, well, first of all, crashing into the same position as always, but then his engine stalled. And that's it.
Pretty hefty hit there. Rubens Barrichello got away with worse of an incident, as did Ralph Furman in qualifying, but unfortunately for Kimi Raikkonen, he has not had the rub of the green, and now Giorgio Pantano has a golden opportunity to take the championship lead. He moves up to 2nd position, Montoya 3rd, Manassian 4th. Michael Schumacher is now going to rejoin up into the top 5. Mark Webber's going to be into the box. This could mean that Pedro de la Rosa could move as high as 7th place here, as side by side between Coulthard and Massa. Could Coulthard make his way around the outside? He's not going to be able to, as that is a Toyota of Fisichella just ahead of the pair of them. Coulthard looking anyway through to try and get through on the inexperienced of Felipe Massa in that Red Bull, as he's currently stuck behind. As Webber, like I said, into the box here on the end of lap 28. He's in the points, or was in the points, when coming into the pits. We'll see where he is capable of rejoining. This could be fairly close between him and Pedro de la Rosa. The Red Bull Sauber Lamborghini looking good to come out ahead and in the points still. And he does so. 7th place on the rejoin for Mark Webber. He's looking good, the Australian, to score his 2nd points finish of the season. And De La Rosa, what a fantastic race it's been for him. He's up in 8th place now in the Opel.
Certainly a good race for Opel and De La Rosa there. Up into the points after all that mayhem, and certainly looking to stay there. So we have a good one.
As there, Ralf Schumacher up the inside of Pedro de la Rosa. He's gone for moves like that on Riccardo Sbarafico and has not come off good, and it will be the same here. For him, I keep thinking Manassian's going to retire, but it's not the case. Manassian currently hounding Montoya, as he has been doing for all of this race so far. Michael Schumacher, though, I imagine it'll be rather than an if, it'll be when he catches up to this dueling pair of Montoya and Manassian for the final podium place. Manassian, bear in mind, has never scored a podium in his Formula... He has. Never mind. Let me just be quiet. Manassian's a race winner. I completely forgot about that. He has never scored a podium for Dams in his career at the team, nor has the team ever scored a podium. The best ever finish that they have received is a 4th place finish at the 2002 Monaco Grand Prix at this very venue 2 years ago, with Sebastian Bourdais, who stepped in place of Mark Webber when Barrichello became injured, and Mark Webber took his place at Renault.
I was just about to say that Manassian's doing fantastically well. He's up into P4, chasing down Juan Pablo Montoya in P3. And if Montoya also retires, having the same luck as his teammate Marc Genet, then we might see a Manassian podium.
Speaking of the Dams team, Giorgio Pantano is about to lap Manassian's teammate, Ralph Furman, whose race has certainly not gone well so far this race. He's spun round at the corner we've just gone through there, Portier, and he's down in 15th place, not 14th, 15th place, behind both of the Jaguars.
Also, we have a question from Gallifrey and Gwen. Is Minassian still ahead of Minassian?
Manassian is indeed still ahead of Manassian. Manassian is actually 2 places behind Manassian at this current stage, and about 40 seconds split the two Manassians. The last time that this team won a race was indeed, Sampass is correct, the 1998 British Grand Prix, the only race in which, when it was called Jordan, took victory with Ralf Schumacher at the Silverstone circuit. We're coming to that race weekend next, and despite being a French team, it has Irish connections to Eddie Jordan, and hopefully, for their sake, they could put on a good performance for their fans next week. But for right now, he's chasing down a potential podium finish in this race, currently sat half a second away from Montoya and a further 10 behind Giorgio Pantano, who's in the midst of lapping several cars, as Massa has just been overtaken there by David Coulthard. Or has he? Once again, Coulthard looking for the outside line through Portier, can't find his way through as the Brazilian fends him off, and the much higher straight line speed of the Red Bull compared to the BAR means that he's going to remain ahead going into the Novell chicane.
You could quite literally say that that the Minassian's having the luck of the Irish on his side, the one that his teammate lacks. But considering the Irish connections of the team, then certainly so.
Yeah, Dams bought out Jordan on the eve of the 2002 season. So, 2002 they were just Dams, where they used the 2002 Jordan car, in which they weren't that competitive, but scored some brilliant results in that car that it realistically probably shouldn't have deserved. And then in 2003, they joined forces with Lola to build their cars, and then merged with Panos for 2004. As there, Massa towards the inside, turns to the outside of the Monaco hairpin, and then back towards the inside. A brilliant switchback move there from Felipe Massa, and he's ahead of Giancarlo Fisichella's Toyota. The Italian with absolutely no response there to the young, feisty Brazilian, and now Fisichella is under pressure massively from the BAR of David Coulthard behind. Could the world champion have a look towards the inside of the Novell chicane? He's going to have a look. He's not going to be close enough to make that move, and then they might start to fall a bit further back as the two now fall under pressure from Giorgio Pantano to let him through, as Jarno Trulli now sets the fastest lap of the race.
Jamson's running in the pits. That's probably going to be Minassian.
That is going to be Manassian into the box at the end of this lap. He's lost sight of Montoya a bit through the lap traffic, as Manassian obviously not as experienced of being a front runner as Montoya is, and as such he'll probably be into the box trying to get out of the way of all this traffic. Probably a smart idea in all fairness. And if you look further back, Schumacher there just in the background was quickly closing in on Manassian, and there Michael Schumacher goes down the main straight and will take that 4th position, but it should be a fairly comfortable 5th place rejoin for Manassian in his attempt to try and score Dams' first podium in Formula 1. Of course, though, they have suffered multiple mechanical retirements so far this season. An 11.3 second stop on the end of lap 33 could suggest a potential one-stop strategy for the Frenchman.
It looks like so, and it might be the best call here.
Welcome in Orange Lightning. Hope that your day and week has gone well. So Manassian rejoining in 5th place. He's actually close to getting lapped by Jarno Trulli, who himself is making his way through Casino Square. He runs 33 seconds now ahead of Giorgio Pantano. It's looking good for Jarno Trulli to take 2 consecutive race victories in a row, but never say never in the world of Formula 1. Montoya quickly being reeled in by Michael Schumacher, as Pitsonia there has just spun into the wall, and Michael Schumacher's going to make his way through. Very, very close quarters between Pitsonia and Schumacher there, as now Pitsonia has just been overtaken by Timo Glock in their battle for P18. Complete head loss from the Brazilian, as he's now fallen down to P20. I think he made another mistake there, being overtaken down at Rascasse. And he now sits only a couple of seconds ahead of Benoit Trulli, who is the last of the running order. 5 retirements so far, 3 big names, including Raikkonen, Alonso and Barrichello, with Genet and Heidfeld also going out with mechanical problems.
That's a black weekend for Brabham. See, as Pitsonia decided it was a fantastic moment to spin, and with Heidfeld out with suspension at the beginning of the race, as we can still hear German screaming coming from that pit box. The only advice I can give is to stay away from the Brabham pit. If you hear any other loud bangs or a gun...
Oh, that's contact between Schumacher and Sato. More contact between Schumacher and a lap car. You'd have to assume that was probably Schumacher's fault, nearly squeezing Sato into the barriers there on the entry into the Nobel chicane. I think the 5-time world champion expected Sato to back out of that one, but the Japanese driver had not. Fortunately, both of them have got away fairly scot-free from that one, but a fairly close call between Schumacher and Sato. Ferrari ready to be servicing their driver into the pits. That has to be that has to be the only Ferrari left in the race. Jarno Trulli is going to be into the box at the end of lap 36. That could be a potential one-stop strategy then for Jarno Trulli. And if he's on a one-stop strategy and he's gone this far without making a pit stop, then he certainly had the pace over Michael Schumacher in the early stages. Getting past him on that start proved to be crucial in keeping ahead in this race, especially since Michael Schumacher crashed in trying to push to keep up with the Ferrari man. Into the pits then for Jarno Trulli, race leader into the box on the end of lap 36, and it should be a fairly comfortable rejoin in the lead for the Italian. An 11.3 second stop, and he will rejoin not only in the lead but also in some clean air, which will be good for his stead in this race. He should not be too invested in overtaking lap cars. Captain Rage, it's because this track is probably the best working one for Monaco. The newer ones, because they take much more speed, it makes them all crash on the exit of the on the swimming pool chicane essentially. So this one's a bit more, a bit more steady with the AI. The Donington Park actually was on the calendar in 2001 as the European Grand Prix. Only took place once and was not very well received by teams and drivers, so it's unlikely that they'll ever go there in the near future, at least without major renovations, for a Grand Prix. Maybe pre-season testing they did there in 2003. One of the two groups when we did group testing because of the amount of cars that were out there on circuit. Giorgio Pantano looking to negotiate around Felipe Massa. That's the driver currently in 10th place. As 6 drivers now only remain on the lead lap. Sperifico only a couple of seconds ahead of Jarno Trulli. And that is for Timo Glock. He's going to be into the pits at the end of this lap.
Glock, yeah.
As Ralf Schumacher and Pedro de la Rosa go past the main straight.
Did De La Rosa pit?
I don't think De La Rosa's pit. We could actually check who has and who hasn't pitted. Montoya, Sperifico, De La Rosa and Fisichella, the 4 drivers, yet to stop in this race. I think Fisichella is going very long in this race to try and gain as many places as he can and then have a short stop towards the end of this race, as Monaco doesn't burn that much fuel. So he can go excessively long on his fuel, probably somewhere around 50 to 60 laps, maybe gets you a full tank of fuel around the Monaco Grand Prix with its low fuel burn. As Timo Glock has been overtaken now by Benoit Trulli due to the German going into the pits.
Well, everyone's going for a long strategy now, are they? I mean, the fuel consumption is low here, as you said, but I'm still surprised that the tires are holding up this long.
Montoya there making contact with the barriers as he tries and gets past Ralph Furman, the man who's currently in 15th place. He's looking to try and lap him into La Rascasse, but you can see right behind him Michael Schumacher on the back of Juan Pablo Montoya, and now this is a out-and-out battle between the Colombian and the German for the final podium place.
Montoya is running third. It's right in front of you.
Well, in the meantime, I will be back in a second. I might have to go for dinner. I'll be right back. You know, it's just one quick little break.
That's no worries.
I'll come back with some info. I have uni tomorrow, so I cannot stay too late. Unfortunately, it is Sunday.
No worries.
Menacion.
Has lost his front wing.
Oh, Manassian's in the... What on earth has just happened?
Benoit
Manassi...
Trellier.
Is unable to continue. His
Benoit Trellier's out the race. I don't know what's just happened to Nicolas Manassian, but he's just come into the pit and lost his front wing.
ready in the pits.
So we'll get a replay of that in a second once he exits the pit lane. And... what on earth has just happened there? Manassian rejoining down in 6th place, as I think that was an unscheduled pit stop for Nicolas Manassian. Let's get a replay of what's just happened. Oh, that's a new one. He's gone into the barriers at La Rascasse because there's a stopped Benoit Trellier on circuit, and I don't think the AI knew what to do because Trellier is parked sideways. Where's Trellier? Here we go. Yeah, brake failure there for the Frenchman, and he is out of the race. Manassian, though, complete driver error, drives into the wall there on the exit of Rascasse. So he's now had to serve another pit stop and has now found himself behind Riccardo Sperafico. Not for the first time this season. Sperafico's probably going to... Manassian's probably going to be sick of seeing the rear wing of that Toyota. Thank you for the live championship standings there, Sampas. Pantano would hold an 8-point lead ahead of both McLarens, and Jarno Trulli with 2 race wins in a row would only be 2 points further back, and as Alonso fails to score, he would move down to 5th place from 3rd.
Montoya is running third. It's right in front of you. You're running.
Right, so I come back and I find Trellier out. What happened to him?
So he's just had a brake failure into Rascasse, and Manassian's just had a brain fart and driven into the wall on the exit of Rascasse.
Oh,
So he's now pit again and is now rejoined behind Sperafico. He's also just been lapped by Jarno Trulli, so we're looking like just 4 drivers are gonna be left on the lead lap. I think Timo Glock has just come into the pit lane. Has he? Or is... Oh, Sato... Is it Sato and... Yeah, Sato and Weldon have been into the box. So, Weldon in for the 3rd time in this race, and he's now rejoined in 20th and last. This is more to the, what we... Ralph Furman's just crashed. Oh my days. Well, this race gets bad to worse for Damslo Lepanos as Ralph Furman crashes down at the Novelle chicane and is out of the Monaco Grand Prix. A 7th retirement for this Monaco Grand Prix.
Probably an ideal weekend for Damslo as Manassian had the mistake, and now Furman is out of the race after that shunt. On the
So he
bright
was
side,
getting
though,
lapped by Michael Schumacher. Just went wide and then just, I don't know, just completely lost where he was in terms of track position. And unfortunately for Ralph Furman, he is out of the race. Ralph Furman is such a brick. Just imagine Ralph Furman's face in the shape of a cube. Speaking of cubes, David Coulthard is into the box. His square head has made his way into the box for the 2nd time in this race.
A good one, dude. Speaking of cubes, Coulthard. The man
And
that
it-
looks like he swallowed an entire brick and kept it as a chin.
He's going to rejoin in 15th place, directly behind Antonio Pizzoni. Fisichella's also going to be into the box shortly.
Renault, already in the pits.
Opel.
Already in the pits.
It said Opel was into the box. That might be for Pedro de la Rosa, as Fisichella's also going to be into the box at the end of this lap. That's going to promote Ralf Schumacher now into the points paying position. Pantano also into the box, more importantly. He may rejoin behind Montoya and Schumacher in this battle, as it looks like it's probably going to be a long stop for the Italian, as the two of Montoya and Schumacher now make their way through Rascasse and Anthony Nogues. Pantano down the main straight. It's going to be fairly close in the battle for second position. There goes Pantano, and he's rejoined just ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya. So a crucial stop there for the Renault crew. If it were any slower, then he probably would have dropped down a position.
Perfect timing for Renault there. Yes, they keep Pantano just ahead of the Colombian. But they're far behind. Well, not too far behind, sorry. I'm just having dinner here. Is Michael Schumacher.
Sperrifico in. Finally is into the box. He's allowing his prisoners to roam free behind him, including Nicolas Manassian, who now makes his way back up into the top 5 after having a crash. To be fair, Sperrifico is only holding up Manassian at that current stage. Webber's also going to go through up into 6th place. What about Ralf Schumacher? Not quite for the German. He's going to rejoin behind Sperrifico, and Sperrifico is going to rejoin in 7th place. So it's looking good, at least for the Brazilian, to score some more points. Fun fact, 4 drivers that took part in the IRL Monaco Grand Prix are absent: Klein, Bruni, Baumgartner and Panis. Well, there you go. Klein and Bruni are both in GP2. Baumgartner failed to qualify in the Minardi, and Olivier Panis has not raced since 2000 following a crash that he had at the French Grand Prix in Manicourt.
Basically a Fisichella, but this time he ain't coming back.
Montoya probably being pretty peeved off by Jenson Button not letting him through, and that's allowed Michael Schumacher to claw in that gap to Montoya in 3rd place. Pantano, meanwhile, has managed to drive away from the 2 gap. Is about 3 seconds, as these 4 drivers, only the drivers on the lead lap currently, as Jarno Trulli leads by 35 seconds. It's looking fairly comfortable for him in this race, as Felipe Massa's just gotten past Cristiano De Mata through the blue flag chaos, and now is on the back of Jenson Button. This could be 2 Jaguars overtaken in as many corners. Jenson Button's going to try and hold it round the outside through to back and into the swimming pool. Contact between the pair, and it's a forceful defence there from Button, just about legal, I would say, and he's going to remain in 9th place. So the 2 Jaguars in 9th and 11th. This could be a great chance for them to finally get on the board in scoring points this season.
Montoya is running third.
Ralf Schumacher again stopped behind Sperrifico. Not the first time that we've seen these two duel around the streets of Monaco. Sperrifico on the inside of the corner, and Ralf Schumacher's going to try and hold it around the outside. Can't find his way through as he tries an over-ambitious lunge there into Portier. We've seen several drivers crash there in the past, most notably Giancarlo Fisichella, who crashed there, lapping some back markers actually in the lead in the Benetton. He was leading with just 10 laps to go, and spun at the on the inside of that curb, and then proceeded to drive up the wall. Just F1 challenge things, really, as Ralf Schumacher still trying to get past Sperrifico in their battle for 7th.
Well, for once we're seeing Sperrifico be more than a roadblock, so that's welcomed.
Schumacher further ahead is trying to get past Juan Pablo Montoya. Gap is about half a second between the two, and Schumacher will be desperate not only to get past Montoya, but also not make another mistake in this race. A podium is well and truly within his sights, possibly even second place if he can get past Montoya with some in a timely manner. But unfortunately for him, the Colombian seems to have all of his tricks. Montoya seems to have all the tricks up his sleeve to keep Schumacher behind. There we go. Can talk finally. Pardon me. Schumacher then. Schumacher Ralph. Still trying to get past Sparaffico. See if there's any other battles out on circuit. Massa is trying to get past Jenson Button for 9th position. We'll see if the Red Bull can finally make his way through the Jaguar, or the Black Cat will be able to hold on ahead of Massa, as yeah, we saw those two come to blows nearly a couple of laps ago into the swimming pool chicane, and that's very nearly into the wall there for Felipe Massa, very close to losing his front wing. We've seen several times on the tyre barriers around this circuit that drivers have been losing parts of their car, but fortunately for Felipe Massa, he's going to stay behind Button, albeit still with a front wing. Red Bull versus Jaguar is cursed. It is a little bit, I would agree.
It is, yeah.
But Red Bull, in this series, Red Bull bought out Sauber rather than Jaguar. So, how to own a team? Sign up when sign-ups are available, Mark, in the Discord.
Also, I just want to say, I want to pay attention for a second here. A comment that I just found about that Sampas made. Olivier wanted to defend this exploded.
Mine got.
Mine fine slope.
Ooh,
wow,
that was a clip into the wall there for Felipe Massa. Fortunately, he's able to keep it going at full pace. I don't think we've actually seen so far this season, despite both Webber and Massa scoring points at the opening 6 rounds, I don't think we've seen both of them share, or rather both get into the points at the same time. So it will be a good way to kick it off with that sort of trend at Monaco. But not only has he got to get past Jenson Button, but he's also got to get past Ralf Schumacher to get into the points, who is in turn still harassing the back of Riccardo Sparaffico.
We're now back to the usual shenanigans being quite slow, and Ralf Schumacher getting quite impatient as well. We've seen him being held up before, the initial stages of the race. So now that he's more fired up and awake, I wonder what he'll do. He shouldn't really push too much, as he's just on the points. And just like I said with Raikkonen, if he pushes too much, he's gonna have an accident.
How's things going on then in Jarno Trulli land? He's getting through some Mac markers right now. He's just overtaken last place man Dan Weldon, has just also got past Takuma Sato into Tabak. The new Enrique Benaldi. That's some elite wheel knowledge right there from from Sampas. As Mark Webber's going to be into the box on the end of this lap. Oh no! A massive shame for Giancarlo Fisichella, who was running a fairly decent race. Well, without incident at least. He was keeping it out the barriers and doing a good job of doing so. But unfortunately for him, he... Oh, and that's another gearbox failure! Trulli's out the race! 2 consecutive gearbox failures, once for Fisichella at Toyota, and now Trulli at Ferrari! It's Advantage Pantano now in the championship, who's going to take the lead of this race. No way Nils just said that. That is so timely. Oh my god. No way.
I'm pretty sure that was after the gearbox. That has to be after. That's no way.
The timing. The timing. Nils, the timing. No way. What?
That timing is just... Yeah, you did that shit again. Just leave it to me, dude. I've already had some moments of timing. Give it some more for me as well.
Oh my.
But that
okay.
is Jarno Trulli.
Trulli out.
Race with gearbox failure. That's Giorgio Pantano on the little race.
And what that also means is that the top 3 are now just separated by 5 seconds in this race, as Giorgio Panso just 5 seconds ahead of now, well, currently 4th place man Michael Schumacher will become 3rd place. In other news, Jenson Button will be up to the points paying positions in trying to get Jaguar's first points of the season. Nils secretly edited the GDP. Nils secretly edited the engine lifetime of the Ferrari. Nils secretly hacked everything. Nils being Nils, he's just edited the Magic INI file, even though I've not got it enabled. Nils has just unlocked Jack Bradbeer's account in terms of cursing people. I can't think of anything else that Nils has done.
break his game.
Manassian's going to be up to 4th place now, as Cristiano De Mata is going to be into the pits at the end of this lap. So the Jaguar man going to fall away from the points-paying positions, as Massa continuing to put the pressure on Jenson Button for what is now the final points place. Alonso, Barrichello, Marc Genet and Nick Heidfeld all... Oh, and that's Ralf Schumacher. Dear me. I don't know how he's got away with that one, but Ralf Schumacher able to carry on. Oh, my stream has... Am I still here? I think so. I don't know what just happened there for me.
Yeah, you're still here. I just had a massive... Oh, it's freezing. Oh, no, it's just pause. Okay.
Yeah, it's just paused. It's just paused. I want to check if it's working okay. Yeah, it should be working. I think it was just my end. Yeah, Ralf Schumacher in the wall there, as Cristiano De Mata into the pits from 10th place in this race. And it will be fairly close between him and Pedro de la Rosa, I think, on pit exit. Or I think the Spaniard's got the leg up on the Brazilian down the main straight. And de la Rosa is up once again into the top 10. That was weird because it didn't say that my internet dropped out, but it also didn't say I have any drop frames. So I don't know what happened there. Strange. Maybe YouTube doing YouTube things. Anyway, new race order. Giorgio Pantano leads the race. He's looking on course for what I believe is his 2nd race victory of the season. Montoya with a fantastic race so far, as he is in 2nd ahead of Michael Schumacher. Manassian is in 4th, with Webber, the first of those drivers, lapped in 5th. Sperrifico 6th, Ralf Schumacher 7th, and Jenson Button 8th. The latter two of those have not scored points so far this season, and would love to do so at the Principality. It was indeed. Was it his last win in Imola 2003? I'm pretty sure Pantano won the... Yeah, oh yeah, the last win for Jaguar was Imola 2003, but the last win for Pantano was Australia 2004, the opening round of this season, as now Montoya disposes of Mark Webber, who is up to 5th place. He's looking to score a record best result for the Red Bull team. Yeah, Imola had 6 finishers.
It will be crazy. The BMW takes notes of what Gen Ace engine did. Like the Modern Papaya rules, but the BMW rules. Hey, Gen A crashed. Can you do that too? I mean, it can happen. We've seen Trulli drop out because of the gearbox. So anything can happen.
Felipe Massa then still on the back of Jenson Button, who is in turn closing in on Ricardo Sperrifico, who is in turn closing in on Mark Webber. So this battle for 5th is well and truly on between 4 drivers, both the Red Bulls, Button as well as Sperrifico. This could be anyone's guess as to who will get 5th place in this race, but Jenson Button seemingly the weakest out of the 4, especially in terms of championship position. Out of the 4 drivers is the only one not to score points so far this season.
In the meantime, I just wanted to say that Minasian, if any of the guys ahead of him have an engine failure, which looks plausible, just look at Trulli, Fernando, Raikkonen. Well, Raikkonen was actually a crash. Any of those with a mechanical failure, and we will have a panel on the
Oh, Massa up the inside, contact with the barrier, sorry to interrupt there, but contact with the barrier for Felipe Massa, nearly spinning round Jenson Button as well in the battle for 7th place. Yeah, as you said, we've still got a third of this race to go, as Giorgio Panso has just completed lap 52. That marks 2/3 race distance. 52 down and 26 still to go, so a long way to go in this race for these drivers. 17 remain out of the 26 that started.
Already in the pits.
In 2002 F3000 there was 3 Speraficos on the grid, that's true. There was Rodrigo, Ricardo and Alexandre, I think. In this series, though, Alexandre didn't take part in that series.
I feel really, really sorry for Pizzonia, who has to pit and face the wrath of the team manager. As you can see, we don't see any water bottles or pieces thrown around as he's just coming in for a normal pit stop, which apparently the Williams pit crew is really happy to oblige with.
It's because there's no pit crew for the no pit crew texture for the Brabham as well. Out of the pits then for Antonio Pizzonia, and there's Timo Glock. Who is that? Wait, is that Manassian? Is that it's Manassian? There's smoke coming out the back of the car. The Cosworth engine is on the way to exploding with 24 laps remaining for 4th position. Jose, I'm afraid you've cursed him, my friend, because you said if either one of the top 3 have an engine failure, and it turns out to be the man in 4th.
Cosworth Venetus was not in my bingo card. And that is a big shame for Asian. Everyone was rooting for...
And there goes the engine, black smoke out of the back of the dams, and he is out of the race on the exit of the tunnel. And lap 54, Nicholas Manassian retires, the 10th retirement of this race. A massive shock as Schumacher! Schumacher's also out! Another engine failure at the exact same point, just a lap later, and Schumacher's also out. Mark Webber's onto the podium.
Mark Webber on the podium in Monaco. Mark Webber from Red Bull Sauber Lamborghini is going to finish 3rd in the Monaco Grand Prix.
Or will it?
Oh my goodness me! That is incredible! Incredible prediction made! Prediction that didn't want to happen.
I can't believe you cursed against and with Manassian at the same time. That's ridiculous.
Magic! Fucking magic!
Anyway, Button into the pits from what was 6th position. He has a fantastic chance of scoring his first points of the season. And that means that De La Rosa's back up into the points as well.
So does De La Rosa.
Absolute barbecue sauce.
Hold on for a minute, because we might have Pedro De La Rosa on the points.
Felipe Massa now trying to get past Sperafico for what is now 4th position in this race, and if he does, then that would be 11 points going the way of the Austrian team Red Bull. That would be a fantastic weekend for them, and it would help them in their battle with Dams as well, with both Dams now out of the race. That would help them massively in helping them reach 7th place in the Constructors, as race leader Giorgio Pantano into the box. This means that it could be actually fairly close between him and Montoya for possible victory. Somehow Montoya has put himself within chance of victory here today. Out of the pits now comes Giorgio Pantano. It's going to be close between him and Juan Pablo Montoya, but it will not be enough to see a change in the lead of the race. So, Pantano leads by Montoya by 1.5 seconds. Mark Webber is in third place, albeit a lap down on the leading pair. Sperrifico is third, under pressure from the second Red Bull of Felipe Massa. Ralf Schumacher on course for his first points of the season in sixth. Jenson Button on his course for his first points of the season in 7th. Same goes for Della Rosa, but D'Amata is also there in the battle for the points paying positions. Coulthard has somehow managed to make his comeback in this race after a very poor start to the race. Justin Wilson in 11th, Pitsonia 12th, Glock 13th, Sato 14th, Weldon 15th and last. 11 retirements including Michael Schumacher, Menassi and Trulli, Fisichella, Furman, Trellier, Raikkonen, Alonso, Barrichello, Genet and Heidfeld. What a chaotic few laps it has just been, and now we are seeing a potential new podium sitter. It could be either one of Webber, Sperrifico and Massa, and if it's neither of them, then it could be absolute chaos overall, as Montoya's going very slow there. He seems like he's lost a lot of time to race leader Giorgio Pantano. I don't know what's exactly happened with Montoya, but he seems to maybe have a problem with his car. He's staying out for now, but this could possibly be a problem for Juan Pablo Montoya. He's really struggling. He's dropping down second after second.
Also, yeah, Sampas, you're absolutely right. Drama's not over yet. And FF, you're gonna have to endure my curses because I am certain to try and sign up for more races. As a commentator, I really love doing this. This is just
Montoya with a lot of problems here. The BMW engine possibly expiring? I'm not exactly sure. Or is it some sort of suspension problem? As there, Sperrifico up the inside of Mark Webber. He's been caught completely sleeping there, the Australian, and the Brazilian is up onto the podium.
incredible, incredible. Sperrifico has decided that it's time to actually be quick.
It doesn't seem like a gearbox failure for Montoya, as he's still shifting up and down the gears, so I don't exactly know what's up with Montoya. And if you know anything about Formula 1 Challenge, as soon as, say, Sperrifico gets past Montoya, he'll be immediately ordered to give the place straight back. So this could be quite confusing for the likes of Sperrifico, Massa and Webber, especially if Ralf Schumacher, who's just clipped the wall there and nearly just crashed, is closing in on the trio of them. So maybe this could be a Ralf Schumacher podium. Button's closing in. Della Rosa's closing in. This could be anyone's guess for who could get a podium place here at Monaco.
I cannot believe what I'm looking at. If Montoya is running out of fuel. That's why. Or
maybe that's a code word for maybe the car's in an unsafe condition and maybe the car needs to be serviced to fix whatever problem it could be. Maybe an electrical problem. Not entirely sure what's wrong with the second place man's car, but he's dropping around 10 seconds a lap to Giorgio Pantano. This is almost certainly guaranteeing the Italian race victory if his car can last to the end, or if he can keep it out the barriers. He has got past his teammate, so Mark Webber from 3rd to 5th in 2 laps. This is going bad to worse for Mark Webber, who has just randomly lost a load of time out the exit of Portier as well. So maybe Mark Webber has a problem as well. I'm not exactly sure what is going on here in the streets of Monaco.
I don't know, but Montoya looks in pain. That has to be a cold word. He had to fuel up on his pit stop. And Pantano pitted. Someone else is on a one stop, if I remember correctly.
Montoya has not pit.
Well, he had no pit stops.
Why is Montoya
no
not pit?
Stops whatsoever.
Very strange from Juan Pablo Montoya, who has just decided to stay out. Is he running out of fuel? Is that the problem? Is he just got
That
like
looks like so.
maybe a radio malfunction, maybe? So he's just lifting and coasting. Not exactly sure what's happening.
Something sounded like they're going into the pits. Was that Williams?
Rose Motorsports was going into the pits, so that'll be for Justin Wilson.
Oh, that's Wilson, yeah. Golf, I call into the pits as well.
Oh, and look at that, Sperrifico up the inside of Montoya. Can he now run away? Could this be the chance that Sperrifico needs? Massa's trying to get through, but he can't make his way through. Sperrifico's off. He's dashing off now, and now Ralf Schumacher's also just overtaken Jenson Button, has he? Or has he just held on to that place, I think? Yeah, I think the two remained as they were, but Sperrifico has gotten past Montoya and is dashing off into the distance. This is horrors for Red Bull, who have just now lost any chance of a potential podium place.
Don't have victory yet, and Sperrifico... And through he goes. Oh, that Williams is stalling. It doesn't have any fuel left.
And whatever's up with Juan Pablo Montoya, we're not exactly sure, but he could be into the box shortly. He is into the box.
Yes, he
so
is,
Montoya in for a pit stop on the end of lap 59. And Coulthard's also into the box as well. So...
That's going to promote D'Amata into the points as well. No, almost into the points.
So Sperrifico is third, Massa is fourth, Webber is fifth, Schumacher sixth, Button 7th, De La Rosa 8th, D'Amata 9th. They're all gathered within about 10 seconds of one another, so this could be anyone's guess as to who will not only get the points paying positions, but the podium as well.
Massa still doesn't seem to give up. He's chasing down Sperrifico with everything he has, but the gap is a bit too large.
We'll check that gap between Pantano and Montoya, but it's now, what was 2 seconds about 5 laps ago, has now been extended by 50. So...
Rebel running the pist, that has to be Webber.
No, that's Massa. That's Massa into the box at the end of this lap.
Over.
Which unfortunately means that he's probably going to drop out the points because of the commotion with Montoya, which may or may not have absolutely ruined Massa's chance of scoring a good points finish here today. Oh, dear me. Massa is looking like he's going to fall out the points here. This is great, though, for the Opel of Pedro de la Rosa, who's going to be now up into 7th position.
Even better for... maybe for D'Amata. He might have a chance at points as well.
He almost certainly will jump ahead. He does jump ahead, so D'Amata now up into the points. Yeah. Both Jaguars into the top 8, and Massa is going to rejoin in 9th. Now, he's got a lot of work cut out for him now. If he wants any chance at points, he's got about a 10-second gap to make up to the Brazilian of Cristiano D'Amata.
Great disaster for Sauber. That is Sauber, goddammit. Red Bull, that's not what you want to see.
And it seems that the whatever the problem was with Montoya's car seems to be fixed now, as he is now running at a similar pace to Giorgio Pantano. So, not exactly sure what was up there with Juan Pablo Montoya, but he is now well and truly on his way to what looks to be a simple second place. Pedro de la Rosa with the most places gained, 15 places from 22nd on the grid. He's moved up to 7th. Button as well, up 14. Glock up 10. Despite his lowly race position now, he's done a good job of staying between the walls most of the time, at least.
Do you reckon Sperrifico's going for a one-stop?
Possibly. If he is, if he needs to stop again, he needs to be building out more of a gap than what he already is. Gap is 5 seconds to Mark Webber. And we've only got 16 laps to go, so I imagine that most of the pit stops have been shaken out by the drivers and teams.
Well, you never know. We've seen Montoya now. You expected that he'd pitted early, but he didn't. So
Ralf Schumacher is also...
can play out with Sperrifico.
And Ralf Schumacher now closing in on Mark Webber for what is a 4th place, potentially on the cards for the Honda. Not exactly sure where the pit stops stand, but something that we do know that is standing right now is Giorgio Pantano standing on a 55-second lead.
This was certainly a race to remember. That was chaotic from the start. But honestly, not too surprised. It is Monaco. Anything can happen.
Webber certainly feeling the pressure now as he starts lap 62 of the Monaco Grand Prix. He's got, what? Oh! Pantano's off! Pantano's out!
No! It is Giorgio Pantano out of the race! It is over for Renault! It is over for the championship leader!
And for the third time in the Monaco Grand Prix, a race leader has retired. Around the streets of Monaco, Montoya, after having that whatever problem he had, is going to be leading.
It is incredible what happened here! The podium is going to be Juan Pablo Montoya, Sperafrico, and Mark motherfucking Webber! I cannot believe it!
Oh, and that's a hefty crash into the barrier there for Giorgio Pantano. A brake failure into the Nouvelle chicane. Hopefully he's going to be alright from that one. But Giorgio Pantano out of the race. Unbelievable scenes here at Monaco.
Incredible! Do you reckon Montoya will retire next?
If Montoya retires next, it is absolutely anyone's game for victory now. My word.
As that is going to be Mark Webber, 83, if he can hold off Ralf Schumacher.
I'll figure that one out. I'll figure that one out later, Sampas.
Either way, we have this man right here, who's about to lap Massa, leading the Grand Prix after doing fuck all, stopping late, pulling a 1 minute 5 seconds gap to Sperafrico.
Oh my days. I don't know what I'm watching at this point.
Do you think I do?
15 laps to go and Juan Pablo Montoya leads. I did not think in a million years that Williams would be winning a race this season. They have been so far off the pace for all of this season. And then with 15 laps to go, there we go, confirmation, Juan Pablo Montoya leads the race.
Juan Pablo Montoya doing absolutely nothing the entire Grand Prix. He's just in P1. And this man's going to go in P2. We're not going to see Villeneuve back again.
And now, this is the battle for the final podium place. It's Mark Webber versus Ralf Schumacher versus Jenson Button for third position. Who would have thought that before the start of the race? Horizon, they won't be winning a race.
I did not sign up for this.
Montoya now coming up to lap Felipe Massa.
Well, the Bachelor Felipe Massa, maybe, just maybe, we'll see another Pantano here with Montoya.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a 1982 situation here. It could be a 1982 situation.
I've got to say, this has been a Monaco Grand Prix for the ages. 3 times we have seen a race leader retire from the Monaco Grand Prix. First it was Fernando Alonso, then it was Jarno Trulli, now it has been Giorgio Pantano. No points for Ferrari, no points for McLaren, no points for Renault. The top 6 all out, and that leaves Juan Pablo Montoya leading the race by over a minute ahead of second place man Riccardo Sperafrico. Mark Webber is in third, and the two of those will be looking forward to a potential first podium in their Formula 1 careers. Ralf Schumacher also looking for a first points finish of the season. Pedro de la Rosa, quite the same. Cristiano de Mata, the exact same as him. Jenson Button, another driver who hasn't scored points. Felipe Massa will be looking to get Red Bull on the board with a double points finish for the first time in their history. He's in 8th place, but only 4 seconds ahead of this man right here, David Coulthard, who has pretty much done nothing right this race, but has somehow found himself on the fringe of a potential points finish.
This race was just... I don't know how else to describe it, mate. Every single driver that has been in P1 in one moment of the race is gone. Fernando is gone, Raikkonen is gone. Trulli
Dan
is
Weldon's just
gone.
overtaken
Pantano
Timo Glock
is
in the
gone.
battle for 12th position
Everybody's
and is now going to be looking to try and get past Justin Wilson, who is up just in front of him in 11th place. So, despite all the retirements, both BIRs still in the race and neither of them in the points. I don't know how that's happened, but alas. And obviously, a race win for Williams would honestly be perfect for them in their constructors' battle. They were starting to lose momentum, down in 6th place behind after being overtaken by Toyota in Spain. But now this will put them back up into 5th place because Sperrifico's up in 2nd, isn't he? So this is honestly great for those two teams, but a terrible race for BAR as their rivals are currently 1st and 2nd.
This is insane. I mean, Sperrifico, the man that many wanted out, hated by almost everyone, especially Sampas, is now in P2.
And if Sperrifico does claim this 2nd place, then he certainly would be silencing his critics with the first podium in his Formula 1 career. Regardless of whether it has been down to luck or not, he has kept it in the straight and narrow, and with 12 laps to go, he is on course for a potential first podium.
I mean, it would be insane if Montoya or Sperrifico get an engine failure or something right now. I just lose it. No, no estoy pendiente del Madrid Atleti, pero no quiero ni verlo, tío. Esto está mejor. Just some little comms with a friend of mine.
And Pedro de la Rosa, in turn, is only 5 seconds away from a podium somehow through all of this. If he scores a podium and it ends up with Webber, Schumacher and Button all crashing, then we'd end up with the likes of Pitsonia, Wilson in the points. Oh my days, this could be absolute lunacy by the end of this race. We've still got 11 laps to go. We could just have the race end here and it would be a fantastic result, but still we've got 11 laps of racing action still to come at this current stage.
Mate, the entire race has been just an absolute mess. This was lunacy from the start. Not even in qualifying it was lunacy with Thurman.
And now this is Juan Pablo Montoya looking to lap Cristiano de Mata. By the end of this race, we could see everyone lapped by Juan Pablo Montoya. I would not have expected, first of all, Williams to win a race, and that said win to be won by a whole lap. But,
Monaco,
however,
yes.
The last time I did a race around Monaco, a Williams was leading by a whole lap in 1994, and on lap 70, the leader had an engine failure, that being Ayrton Senna. His teammate Damon Hill won that day in the career mode. However, there is no Williams left in 2nd place to pick up the pieces, so...
There's only one, Ricardo Sperrifico in 2nd.
Oh, Montoya nearly just spun there trying to lap de Mata. Dear me. And is this the chance that Massa needs to try and get past Cristiano de Mata in towards the chicane? Is he going to be able to make an overtake? Not quite into the Novell chicane. De Mata holds firm in 7th place. But Cristiano and Felipe will certainly need to be looking over their shoulders. Oh, sorry. Especially with David Coulthard on a watching brief. He's in 9th place and just mere tenths behind the points paying positions.
Well, in other news from another universe, we're gonna have a long break in 2007, and there's this thing. Oh no! Everything just nuked itself. The poor lad. But in the meantime, this is the thing that matters right now because we have a Red Bull and a Honda fighting for P.
And a Jaguar. There goes Montoya lapping Pedro de la Rosa. De la Rosa not letting him through though. He certainly needs to be letting him through so he can go and challenge the cars in front of him.
Come on, De La Rosa, kill him.
Why is De La Rosa outpacing Montoya? Just let him go. Just let him go. Okay, Montoya through on De La Rosa. who is up in 6th place. That would match his best ever result in Formula 1 at the 2003 San Marino Grand Prix, where he also scored Opel's only ever points in Formula 1 with a 6th place.
Honestly, I'm at a loss of words. I'm at a loss of words here. What am I looking at?
9 to go then for race leader Juan Pablo Montoya. He's just got 9 laps to claim his first ever race victory in the Principality. It would also be his 4th race victory in Formula 1, I believe, as Sperrifico sits over a minute behind at this current stage. Massa is closing quite quickly on Cristiano D'Amata for this final points position. Will there be any way to get a way through in the final 9 laps for Felipe Massa? I'm not entirely sure, as Cristiano is in turn trying to find a way through on Pedro de la Rosa. Limited to the pace of the Opel though, may make it easier for Felipe to try and find a way through. However, these alternative lines from the Brazilian certainly not helping in closing up to the back of the Jaguar. I forgot about scrutineering as well. Oh no!
Just imagine Montoya and Sperrifico get scrutineered and both disqualified. That's whoever Schumacher button.
Oh, I can't be dealing with that if that happens. Mark Webber beating a race winner.
in the Red Bull Lamborghini.
Stream the scrutineering. I am not doing that.
I mean, I'll still watch it if you allow me to.
Yeah.
Cool.
It will be put out in a news report later this evening if anyone's been disqualified. So if you haven't already and you're interested in wondering if anyone gets disqualified in scrutineering, then be sure to join the Discord.
The whole podium is just cute.
I'm not streaming the Discord, Keo. You can hold your breath and wait.
Just pray that it happens, mate. Just pray that the entire podium is scrutinied. DSQ.
I also want to say a big thank you to everyone that's showed up so far in this stream. It has been got 42 live viewers right now. I think that's the most I've ever had.
Yeah.
So thank you to everyone who has joined us so far. I hope this has been a very entertaining race to watch, as Juan Pablo Montoya is currently just over 7 laps away from taking his first race victory in nearly a whole season. And it will also be Williams' first victory. Not only first victory, I think this also might be their first podium of the season, maybe? I'm not entirely sure, actually. I don't know if Montoya scored a podium. He did score 3rd place in Australia, but he was disqualified from scrutineering.
That magic word. Scrutineering.
The thing is, though, Captain Rage, 2003 San Marino, we had 8 finishers, and 2 of the race leaders got disqualified. So we ended up with 6 left. That's how we ended up with 6 left. We had 8 finishers in that race. So, you know, an attritional race doesn't matter. It means a higher chance of you getting picked and getting disqualified, really. That's all it means.
Some dude that likes wrestling. Yes, you've missed chaos.
You have indeed. Welcome in, some dude. You are joining us just 6.5 laps from the end of an absolutely bonkers Monaco Grand Prix, where Juan Pablo Montoya currently sits over a minute ahead of the rest of the field. Sperrifico is in second. You can see there, 1 minute and 16 seconds. Pantano, Trulli and Alonso all retired from the race lead. We saw Manassian retire from 4th. We saw Schumacher retire from 3rd. We've seen Furman crash out of the race. We've seen Raikkonen crash out of the race. We've seen Barrichello crash out, not out of the race, and then have a mechanical failure. It has been absolutely non-stop chaos here at the Monaco Grand Prix. And to be honest, with F1 Challenge, I wouldn't want it any other way. As Montoya now closes in still on Jenson Button, I think that is, just ahead of him. Yeah, it is. As the 3 cars just ahead of him, that's the battle for the final podium place. The Red Bull of Mark Webber, the Honda of Ralf Schumacher, and the Jaguar of Jenson Button. Those 3 drivers collectively have 1 point so far this season. So all 3 of those will be looking forward to, by far and away, their best result of the season. Maintain that Raikkonen just got bored.
I'd understand the podium position if it were Prime Fisichella, but Fico.
I also want to say, because of all the retirements for the front runners, I think the championship standings will pretty much stay as they are for like the top 5 or something like that. As I think Montoya only has 12 points or something like that, so he'd only move up to ahead of Coulthard, maybe? Maybe Barrichello. I don't know how many points Barrichello has off the top of my head. But this will move Montoya up somewhere around the region of the top 5 in the driver's standings.
This is insane.
It has been a crazy race.
I don't even know what to say about this anymore. It has gone from wild to absolute apeshit, back to wild, back to normal, and then absolute bonkers. There's literally no way to grapple this.
I think Montoya's taking it easy at this current stage. Schumacher's off from 4th place! No way! The Honda has been denied with just 5 laps remaining from a first points finish of the season, and Ralf Schumacher is another retirement. Coulthard up the inside of Massa as well. That's 7th place for BAR. That could be huge in their constructors' battle with Williams and Toyota, who currently sit 1 and 2. Button up to 4th, Della Rosa 5th, Damata 6th, Coulthard 7th, and Massa now remaining in 8th place, because he was in 8th place before and has just been overtaken by Coulthard.
In the meantime, Pitsonia in P9 with the
Pitsonia is indeed in P9, just 1 place away from a potential first point of the season.
Now, honestly, the German screaming has gone from hate to pure bliss. But I do not even want to know what it will transform into if Montoya, Fico, Rubber Button, Della Rosa, Damata, Coulthard, Massa, or Massa suffer a problem. I do not even want to know.
David Coulthard is now ahead of Michael Schumacher in the standings. Is that the case? Well, it's certainly been a race to forget for all of McLaren, Ferrari and Renault. All 6 of the top 3 in the constructors, their drivers all out of the race. And it leaves us with Juan Pablo Montoya just 3.5 laps away from taking a historic victory for Williams. Della Rosa also on course to now beat his best ever finish in Formula 1, and for Opel to also get their best ever race finish in Formula 1. Although Cristiano Damata, David Coulthard and Felipe Massa would like to have a word with Pedro Della Rosa. They are the salesman knocking on the door, trying to take points away from him. But will the Spaniard prevail in keeping his 5th place? 3 laps to go then for race leader Juan Pablo Montoya. Never cross out that there could be another mechanical failure for anyone in the points, or even anyone out the points. Who knows if Montoya will take victory? It's looking good for right now, but 3 laps from the end, he's now closing in on Mark Webber and Fico to lap them.
Anything can happen. We have seen everything happening, so I am 100% expecting another failure.
Montoya now closing in on Mark Webber, and the Red Bull will be lapped through the tunnel on lap 76. Just Montoya and Fico remain on the lead lap, as the Australian there lapped. But still, Oh! Webber's off!
Weber!
Webber's just crashed from the podium. Button's into third. Oh no.
Oh, careful,
Oh,
that's
no.
going to be the La
Oh,
Rosa
no.
hitting me. That's going to be the La Rosa. Oof.
Oh my days. Webber's bottled a podium. Oh my days. Webber's bottled a podium. The Red Bull had a perfect chance at a third place finish and is now going to come away with possibly nothing.
But here's the bigger thing. Pizzoni on the points. Pizzoni's on the points. Wait for Nelson's reaction. He must be over the moon.
And it's just a complete lapse of concentration there from Mark Webber as he crashes and spins at the Novell chicane without a front wing. There's Pitsonia, there's Webber. It could be close on pit exit here between the two, but if Webber maybe he tries and just carries on, limps it home without a front wing, I'm not exactly sure, but this could be a chance for Pitsonia to take a point for Brabham Mercedes. Into the pits then for Mark Webber. We're going to see who comes out in front. Is it Webber? Is it Pitsonia? This has to be a rapid stop from the Red Bull crew if they want to keep both cars in the points. I don't know why they want to change the tyres, to be honest, but it needs to be a good stop, and it's not looking so. 8.7 second stop. Pitsonia down the main straight. Pitsonia into the points. The Brabham is looking like it's going to score points as De La Rosa's just... Has De La Rosa just overtaken D'Amato?
Yeah.
De La Rosa's just overtaken Cristiano D'Amato. He's up to 4th place. He's 1 place away from a podium.
One more mechanical failure fuck up from the top 3. We will see an Opel. An Opel in P3. I cannot even believe.
Oh, he might have already been... No, he was already in 5th, wasn't he? No, he was already ahead of D'Amato, my bad. So, Pedro De La Rosa is still on course for a 4th place finish. Final lap of the race now for Juan Pablo Montoya. Sperrifico has now been lapped by the Colombian driver of the day. I'd say deservedly so. Pedro De La Rosa with 27% of the votes. Jenson Button 2nd. Montoya 3rd. I'd say those 3 completely deserve it. Those 3 in absolutely crazy circumstances, looking like they're going to take a first of a couple of firsts here, as there Dan Weldon round the outside at Portier on Justin Wilson. Racing's not done yet, and that's a great move there from the BAR driver to move himself into the top 10. Wilson now relegated down to 11th. Where is Montoya though? He's now just got half a lap to go. He's now down to the Novell chicane. Just a couple of corners to go for the Colombian before he takes a historic first victory here at the Principality of Monaco. Through the swimming pool chicane. Does that perfectly tidy. He's now just got 2 corners to negotiate before he takes victory here today. Through Raskas. And through Anthony Nogues, and it's just a run up towards the line for Juan Pablo Montoya, who throughout the crazy circumstances is going to win the 2004 Monaco Grand Prix. Sperrifico will get his first ever career podium in 2nd position for Toyota, silences the critics, and Jenson Button in the Jaguar, not only his first points of the season, but the first podium for Jaguar this year. De La Rosa in 4th, getting his best ever finish in Formula 1, with D'Amato in 5th, Coulthard 6th, and Massa in a disappointed 7th place. What about the final points place though? Webber just a couple of seconds behind Pitsonia, but he will not be able to stop the Brazilian from rounding the final corner and make it 2 Brabhams now in the Drivers' Championship to score World Championship points. Pitsonia across the line in 8th position. Webber, what could have been a potential podium on the cards until a spin at the Novell chicane with just 2 laps to go left the Australian empty-handed here at the Monaco Grand Prix. There has got to be words with him and Peter Sauber on what on earth was going through the Australian's mind, as Dan Weldon is going to complete the top 10 and the back 3 of Justin Wilson, Timo Glock and Takuma Sato will complete the order. Sato's actually just going to retire the car, which is fair enough. He's going to finish in last place anyway. So we'll see 14 drivers actually classified, as Ralf Schumacher retired late on from a potential podium position. Ralf Schumacher with a suspension failure with just 4 laps to go from 4th place, as Giorgio Pantano, Michael Schumacher, Nicolas Minassi and Jarno Trulli, Fisichella, Furman, Trellier, Raikkonen, Alonso, Barrichello, Genet and Heidfeld all retired from the race. But it is a first race win of the season for Juan Pablo Montoya. If you enjoyed that stream, make sure to join us next time. Next stream should be next week, hopefully. Same time, same place, 6 PM GMT. And if you are just excited for that race as you are for the rest of the season, be sure to like the stream and subscribe. That's going to be all from me in today's stream, and that's going to be all from Jose as well.
Yep, I'll see you guys for the next one. This was amazing.
And I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and that's going to be all from us today. Goodbye.
Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm, to the rhythm. Rock, rock, rock to the rhythm, to the rhythm.